now takes back out, takes a look at that wide line one more time. See Nemechek's car. He has been that. Oh, there we go.
And off they come off the corner, side by side. Nemechek up high, Earnhardt down lower. He's been strong, scoots away. Now, does Nemechek have the power, and can he get it down?
Off of this corner where Nemechek really made a run. Here he comes to the wire. He's going to beat him to the line.
He's going to win it. Go, Nemechek.
TNN Motorsports proudly presents live flag-to-flag coverage of the New England Chevy Dealers 250 from New Hampshire International Speedway. 80-degree weather, beautiful day. Some 60 cars signed in to contest 44 qualified spots. Can't ask for much better than that here at the nation's newest super speedway, this 1-mile oval in Loudon, New Hampshire. Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Joy. Since this track was built and christened in 1989, we've seen some great races here. And Neil Bonnet, just seems to be something about going flat track racing that makes these cars more competitive than they seem to be anyplace else.
Mike, I tell you, when a promoter like the Bear family builds a facility, they feel like the people will come. The question is, what kind of racetrack do you have? No doubt they hit on something here. These long straightaways, these flat turns, no one can really run away, and it's a bunched-up pack most of the day. Good racing on this racetrack.
And some surprises in qualifying. In the front four are 2 Busch regulars, 1 Busch North driver, and a Winston Cupper. You can't mix it up much more than that. But the man on the pole is the man you saw a minute ago drive to victory lane in this race last year. Let's meet him with Glenn Jarrett.
Well, Mike, Joe Nemechek finds himself right up front where he finished last year when we were here in that stirring duel that we just saw to finish off. Joe, this has got to be one of your favorite places, but the key thing is you told me earlier that you've got one of the best race cars today you've ever had in your life.
Glenn, definitely. The crew has given me a car here. We unloaded off the truck, and we went almost as fast as we qualified at the first lap off the truck, and that just says a lot for the Dennis Boyd building the motors, Vic Kangas, my crew chief, my whole crew. New Goodyear tires, unbelievable.
What is it about this place makes you run so well?
I don't really know. I like diving off in the corners, and the whole trick that I feel to this racetrack is you got to get in the corners hard, and as soon as you get in the middle, get the car to turn. And if you can get that car to turn and get after the gas, you'll beat the guys coming out.
Well, I think he's going to have a real easy time beating everybody today if things go like they did yesterday. He was the fastest car in practice on the continued run, so Joe's going to be awfully tough today. Good luck. There's a guy on the outside pole, though, might have something to say about him. Let's meet him with Randy.
Well, that's Terry Labonte, and Terry Labonte, although he doesn't run all the Busch races, he might be one of the hottest drivers on this circuit. Second at Watkins Glen. You were third at Talladega, third at Michigan, third at Indianapolis Raceway Park. You've done everything but win this year, so what about it today?
Well, I'll tell you what, our NW Windows Chevrolet has run good all year long. Every race we've run, the car has been awful good. We've come awful close to winning, but we just haven't quite got there yet. We had a good qualifying run here. The cars seem to be pretty good in practice, so maybe today will be our day.
Okay, good luck today, Terry. Let's go back upstairs to Mike Joy and Neil Bonnet.
Thanks, Randy. Well, we may see a little bit different race than what we saw here last year.
Mike, I tell you what, not only have the crews had time to get their cars better, we heard them mention the tires. The tire manufacturers had a time to work with this racetrack, and I think you're just going to see 2 stops today. We had tires questionable before. That's not the case now. Put you some tires on, fill up with gas, and go racing. The cars are going to be good all day long, I think.
Could you gamble and make this race on 1 pit stop?
I don't think they can stretch it fuel-wise, Mike. It's going to be questionable, and I think if they come in for gas, they'll stick the tires on and just go at it. But I think the last portion of the race is going to be a sprint as good as the tires are working.
It's going to be fun, and we're going to bring it to you live on TNN right after we pause for these messages. Stay with us for the Chevy Dealers of New England 250, live from the network that brings you more Busch racing than anybody else. You know who that is. Well, you met the drivers on the front row for today's race at New Hampshire. Let's catch you up on the point standing leaders in the Busch Series. Run for Rookie of the Year. Here's this week's Haviland update. Glenn Jarrett.
Steve
Steve Grissom now holds a 47-point lead over David Green in the standings. Since we last saw you at Talladega, Tracy Leslie picked up a win at Indianapolis, and Mark Martin won last week at Michigan. The rest of the top 5, Robert Presley is in third, followed by Ward Burton, and Chuck Bound rounds out the top 5. We thought we would also update you as to who's leading in the rookie standings. That top spot is being held by the Virginia is for Lover Olds of Hermie Sadler, who is definitely loving his 275-point lead over the next closest competitor, Joe Bessie. Tim Fedewa is third, Roy Payne is fourth, and Jason Keller rounds out the top 5 in the rookie standings. It's going to be awfully tough for Bessie, or anyone else for that matter, to overhaul Sadler.
And you see the field lined up awaiting the command of fire engines. We'll take you down through the starting lineup just as soon as we come back to New Hampshire. Welcome back to Loudon, New Hampshire. They're just a couple of minutes from firing engines. That'll give us a chance to talk to a couple more drivers before we get rolling here. Let's go down trackside. Glenn Jarrett.
Well, Mike, I'm kneeling alongside of Dale Earnhardt, the other party in that thrilling finish we saw last year. And you think this place...
I don't know. You know, racetracks are sometimes good to you and sometimes tough on you. And I had a great race here, this race last year, same race car I had, and you know, he says he's got new sheet metal on the one he had up here, so hopefully we can get up there and race with him, and we qualified better than we did last year, so we're in better shape. So, you know, if we just run a consistent race and be around at the end.
Well, if there's anybody that's good at being around at the end, it's this man. He's been around the end of almost every Winston Cup race this year. Look for him to be in the hunt before the day's over. Randy?
Well, I'm standing by with somebody that's not been around a lot on TNN before. It's Kelly Moore, and he's qualified fourth. For the race fans out there in TNN land that don't know who you are you, and what are you doing qualifying for?
Well, you know, we came here to New Hampshire a couple weeks ago, and we finished the race up front here, and we came to the Chevy dealers race, and we're really looking for a good run here. You know, we've qualified fourth, and Jordan Lumber Makita Chevy is really running good for us today, and hopefully we'll be here right at the end.
Okay, good luck to you out there today. Back upstairs.
Thanks, Randy. Kelly Moore is one of the standouts of the Busch North Series, a parallel series with this one we usually see on TNN, and there are a number of combination races throughout the season like this one. Sears Die Hard Battery, now with more power when you need it most, presents the starting lineup for today's race. Joe Nemechek with a track record speed of 124.875 is on the pole. Terry Labonte is alongside. In row number 2, there's Robert Presley in a Chevrolet, and there's Kelly Moore in his Chevy. Row number 3, Ricky Craven from Maine. Hermie Sadler, the leading rookie from Virginia. Dale Earnhardt starts 7th alongside former series champ Larry Pearson. In row number 5, the newest Winston Cupper, Todd Bodine, next to 1990 champ Chuck Bound. The leading Busch North rookie, 24-year-old Andy Santerre, along with Bobby Dotter in row 6. Row 7, Robbie Crouch, a former NASCAR North champ, as is Jamie Obey from Vermont. Tim Fedewa, the rookie from Michigan, and Jeff Burton from Virginia. In row 9, Mike McLaughlin's won here before. He starts next to Connecticut's Jeff Berry. In the 10th row, former Moss champ Mike Stefanik and David Green up front of the point. Mike Wallace shares the 11th row with Jack Sprague and holds in a Chevrolet. Reggie Ruggiero, who ran the modified tour race last night on Long Island next to Tommy Houston. Bill Elliott and Hut Strickland in the Davey Allison Ford in row number 13. Row number 14, Tom Peck from Pennsylvania and Chad Little from Washington. In the 15th row is Tom Bowles from Connecticut and Rodney Combs from West Virginia. Curtis Markham from Virginia and Joe Bessie from Maine in row 16. Then it's Greg Clark from New York State and Steve Grissom up front of the point. Ward Burton had trouble in qualifying. He's back in the 18th row with Brian Ross from New York State, the modified driver. Tracy Leslie, the most recent winner from Michigan, and Dick McCabe, the former champion from Maine. Arkansas's Richard Lassiter and the Dragon Wagon, Bobby Dragon from Vermont in the 20th row. Shauna Robinson from Iowa and Stubbs Fatson from New Hampshire in row 21. And the other provisional starters are rookie Nathan Butchie from North Carolina and Martin Truex out of New Jersey. Field has fired, and Joe Nemechek getting a last-minute check as the Busch Series official has a look at his gauges. When things are warmed up, they will roll them off on the pace lap. The weather is near perfect. Got down to about 50 last night. Got a little chilly up here in New England, 72 right now.
Mike, I know you've never told me a story, and you always told me how nice the weather was up here. Last time it was 100 degrees. I'm glad to see it got down like it was supposed to be. Boy, it is wonderful up here.
Mark Twain, when he lived in Hartford, said if you don't like the weather in New England, wait a minute, it'll change.
It did. It was 50 this morning.
That's right. This speedway is just a shade past a mile in length, measured 15 feet from the inside of the oval. 12-degree banking in the turns, but they are very wide. Straightaways 65 feet wide, and equal length straightaways 1,500 feet long. They race modifieds here. They race the Busch Series cars, Indy cars, Winston Cup cars, sports cars, and motorcycles on what used to be a sleepy little 1.6-mile road course and has been transformed into the nation's newest and already one of its finest super speedway. Balance of the field rolling out here for the first pace lap.
See the official there giving them 2 laps. We was up here in hot weather. They were ready to go in 1. It's not going to take long to get them ready to roll.
You saw Ward Burton just go by. They set his car up for qualifying and checked the air in the tires. The gauge was faulty. It read 6 pounds less than what he thought he should have had. He said he went into the first turn, almost rolled right out of the seat, starting way back today. Tracy Leslie's car apparently will not come to life. The Detroit Gasket Chevrolet. So they're going to roll him out of the way of Richard Lassiter, Shauna Robinson, and Nathan Butke on the inside of that row.
Tough way to have to start pushing them off. A lot of times you kill the battery first of the race, but thank goodness these Busch cars along with Winston Cup cars, it's hard to say if you got it cranked. They do have alternators on them. If they can get it cranked, it'll put some juice back in that battery. But it looks like he didn't get it going. There's Shauna Robinson.
And to be carrying our in-car camera, the new Captiva instant camera from Polaroid, a little new technology and some new features. On that, watch for it in your store coming soon if it's not there already. There is the race cam mounted up and over her shoulder.
I just saw the other car go by.
Yeah. Let's see. Now, here's our new flip. This is trunk cam, and that's not the trunk that's moving. That's our trunk cam. Give you these pictures, panning right and left. It's mounted to the rear deck lid just below the spoiler and above the rear bumper. So let's hope trunk lid cam lasts the day here.
Bumper cam has had a few faults at times when they ramped in the back of it.
There it is, right over the O in Polaroid. And a little look at it there. We'll try to show it to you a little better. Another little trick we're trying to give you different views and the best possible coverage of Busch Grand National Racing here on TNN. Ward Burton, though, is on pit road, and they have the left side of his car jacked up. And we're not going green. The caution is holding. They wanted to get the cars back in line that were held up on pit road when Tracy Leslie's car would not fire. So we're going to go at least one more lap here.
It was hard to tell what they were doing to that 2 car. They had some ratchets, some big wrenches out. They were either torquing the wheels or maybe making some kind of chassis adjustment. They might have last-minute decision where this weather decided to go a different way.
We'll find out in a moment from Glenn Jarrett. Here's the field coming by and get another pace lap. Leading the field today is the brand-new Chevy S10 pickup. Chevrolet is the official car and truck of the Speedway here, and that truck is brand new and just being introduced to the public. So it's a little different from our normal pace car. Here's Glenn in the Ward Burton pit.
Well, Mike, one of the worst things that could happen to a guy on the start. Ward cannot get the car out of second gear. It will only go into first and second. It will not go into third or into fourth or high gear. So they're going to bring him back in. In fact, I see him coming down pit road right now. They're going to bring him in to see if they can just put the car into fourth gear for right now. This will hurt him on the takeoff, but at least he'll be able to run at full speed. They're going to jack the left side of the car up now. You'll see one of the crew guys crawl into there, try to just manually put the car into high gear right now, and that's the best that they can do at this point.
Now, Bob Newton was telling me just about half an hour ago, he says, I think we're really going to do well today if we don't have one of those little problems and have little luck, a cotter pin fall off, a bolt, a nut, something like that. And they put the tires to Ward Burton's car among several others in this field, Hoosier and Goodyear, both supplying the Busch team. And it's one of those little problems.
You know, Burton's been real successful in the series, and a lot of rumors, good rumors that they are going Winston Cup racing next year. Motors from Hutter and stuff, they've got their program lined up to go Winston Cup racing next year.
Well, we'll see. He's a good little driver, and he's had a lot of success. He's going to come rolling off the pit lane as the field is held down, looking for a start. The pace truck is in, and we are under green here in New Hampshire. Ward Burton scoots out on pit road there on the tail end of the lead lap as we get started, and Joe Nemechek has the lead. Labonte in trouble in turn 2 already. One car is flat sideways. Hermie Sadler around it at the bottom of the racetrack. Dale Earnhardt's car also came to the bottom of the racetrack at turn number 2 and is limping around the racetrack. Field comes around to the caution at lap 1. What a break would have be for Ward Burton, except that he never got up to speed and the field came around him. Two of the pre-race favorites, Earnhardt and Burton, already in trouble.
Burton must have still had that car hung in second gear and couldn't get up to speed. Even though he lost the lap, he's getting a big break here, having the opportunity to try to fix it on the caution.
So Burton is on pit road. It was Hermie Sadler spinning at turn 2, and Dale Earnhardt ending up very slow down the backstretch as a result of a get-together at the first corner, and Earnhardt's car is just now making it to the pit lane. You know, let's go to Glenn.
Well, Mike, obviously they didn't get the problem repaired, and they did not get the car into high gear. The reason Ward could not come up to speed and lost that lap. We thought for a minute there that the caution was a blessing for him, but he just couldn't get up to speed to beat the leaders back. So they're still working on it. We'll let you know when they get the thing down. They said they would tell us this time if they think they've got it fixed, but right now, same problem.
And Glenn Earnhardt's car is coasting into his pit. The car, I don't know if it was running when it came by you, but it just barely is going to make it into the pit, and no brakes.
Yeah, that seems to be probably. Doesn't have any brakes on the car. Wonder why he was going so slow coming around to get back to the pits. But evidently, they knocked the brake line off of it.
They had to use the Armstrong method to get it wound. Randy Pemberton is there.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, Neil. They are working on the right part of the car. I think it's a brake line. I have not gotten a word from the crew yet, because as soon as Earnhardt and Hermie Sadler got together back there, they all jumped to attention, so I didn't want to bother him at that point. But Dale sits calmly in the car. Little left-hand side damage on the 3 car as well, but we'll get the word on him, and hopefully he won't go lap down. They're thrashing around back here.
Tony Eury running around the front of the car, and we're going to have replays of this incident for you as soon as we come back. Joe Nemechek led that first lap over Terry Labonte and Robert Presley. We're under caution at New Hampshire. We're still under caution. They've given the 1-to-go sign here at New Hampshire International Speedway. Ward Burton comes off pit road as Dale Earnhardt is still there. Let's see if we can see what happens, Neil.
Mike, here they go down in the first turn. You see the 2 cars, really the 3 wide getting in the first turn right there. Earnhardt's down inside. Him and Hermie Sadler get together right there in the middle of the corner. Here's Sadler coming across the nose of the car. Sadler goes around, and Earnhardt continues around. Looks like he broke a tie rod. They said they're working on the tie rods on the car.
So Sadler has come around. Here's another look. Picks it up a little later in progress, but you see the cars are 3 wide there. Another car darting underneath to get away as Sadler comes around. And it's really difficult to tell if Dale was trying to move up or if Hermie was trying to come down, because there was a car on the outside of Sadler when all that started. Randy Pemberton.
Well, guys, he broke a right front tie rod on the car. It's I've got it sitting here right in my hand. It's got a little bend on it. Besides that, what he's had to do was they've replaced the tie rod. Earnhardt is now 2 laps down.
Far cry from the finish of last year's race when he and Joe Nemechek dueled to the checkered flag. Green is back out. 5 laps complete. And Joe Nemechek will take them off into turn number 1. Terry Labonte holding second, but look at the lead that Nemechek has opened up in just 2 corners of this racetrack. Neil, he could make it a long afternoon.
Mike, he made the statement earlier that the thing felt like a go-kart. Here's the 51 car spun coming off turn 2 over here. There's another car spinning. Butke's spinning to avoid him.
Mike McLaughlin, who has 4 victories on this racetrack in Busch North competition, spins at turn number 2 in the Mike and Harry Grieche Coors Light Oldsmobile. And Nathan Butke, the rookie driver, coming around hoping to avoid that incident. Gets tied up in it, and we are back at caution at lap 6. So Nathan Butke spinning after Mike McLaughlin went around. McLaughlin mentioned as a possible replacement for Todd Bodine in the C.C. Welliver car for next year. And here's Ward Burton.
And that's probably a case of stuck in 2 gears. A lot of the times you'll get it hung in gear and you start snatching around the shifter and try to get it to shift on its own, and it actually goes to 2 gears, and then it's just deadlocked right there. If that's the case, they're going to have to pick him up and lift the rear of that Ward Burton's car springing around.
When it's not your day, oh boy. There's Mike McLaughlin, who's back up to speed. And here's what happened. Look right in the middle of your screen.
Looks like McLaughlin's car slipped up just a little bit. They touched.
Might have been Mike Wallace he was against.
Yeah, it's hard to tell which one of them. He slid back out across traffic. Oh, man, they did a good job of missing him. Evidently, Butke just cleared this wreck and spun just past the accident here. sitting in the middle of that track. There comes Butch. He's already sideways when he comes into view.
So McLaughlin will pit, having flat spotted those tires, and there you see a wheel mark of what I believe was Mike Wallace along the outside of him. Haven't had much green flag racing yet, but there's lots more to come here at New Hampshire as Joe Nemechek leads Terry Labonte. Welcome back to New Hampshire International Speedway. We're behind pit wall. Interesting through the air cleaner shot there as they look for tools to repair Ward Burton's car. Glenn?
They're going to have to change the transmission on the car. I talked to Freddie Pryor. The transmission is indeed locked in gear. They cannot get it out. They can't fix that one, so they're just jacking it up. I can't get to Ward now because of all the crew guys there. We'll try to get a word with him a little while, but he's very upset, obviously so, but nothing he can do now but sit and wait. As Freddie Pryor said to me, hey, man, that's just racing.
Ward came in here fourth in Busch Series points, 205 out of the lead. And there's another car with a hood up. Randy showed you the broken tie rod on Earnhardt's car. It looks like he'll lose some more laps under green here, Neil.
Yeah, those tie rods are threaded on the end, and right where the threads ended and the taper goes up, it snapped off that area there. That's the weakest place, and they're actually made, you know, to try to bend that area before you break a spindle or something, and took a good shot on the right front.
One to go, and we'll go back to green. Nathan Bucky has made a pit stop, as has Mike McLaughlin, and come back around and rejoin the field. Joe Nemechek leads, Terry Labonte, Robert Presley, Kelly Moore, Ricky Craven in fifth, Larry Pearson, Todd Bodine. And let's get an update on Dale Earnhardt's fortunes here from Randy.
Well, he doesn't have the best of luck up here, to say, in the Busch Series, but what happened is they broke a brake line. They broke the right front tie rod, so they had to replace that. They plugged off the brake line. The toe end was out on the right front, so they had to string the car again to set the wheels in line, and it just took a little while for him to do it. He's down, and he's back out there.
Pace truck beginning to stretch the field out here as we get ready for a restart. We've had two cautions. They've come quickly, lap 1 and lap 6. We've had one full lap of green flag racing. 9 of 250 miles complete this time.
We see Hermie Sadler out there trying to get that lap back. He qualified really good for this race. If Nemechek wasn't so strong, he might have a shot to cut.
But Nemechek will haul Sadler down into turn number 1 and the rest of this field. It gives him a lap car between himself and the field. There's 3 wide down in turn 1 in the middle of that pack, and finally do sort it out. Up front, Hermie Sadler 1 car length behind Joe Nemechek. Terry Labonte in second. Robert Presley third. Early stage of this race, you really want to get single file, see what the car's going to do, see how the racetrack's going to be, but as you can see here, it's not easy.
Well, that's the key. Everybody wants to work their way over to that inside, but you also can't give up track position. Usually to get that inside, you've got to back up some to get in a hole. But as you can see, there's not many openings to pull in. In turn, you get in that outside lane, and you just keep backing up. There. See Hut Strickland, guy in the Allison car. Red Farmer's in the crews up here with that car this week. And just prior to the race, they gave quite a big donation to give to the Allison family. It was collected for Davy's family up here. Good gesture.
With over $8,000 they collected Friday night from the New Hampshire distributor of Busch Beer and the New Hampshire Speedway Victory Lane Committee for the Davy Allison Children's Fund benefit softball game. Fat Boy from Mike Wallace's crew was voted most valuable or most volumable player. He didn't play. He was the first base coach.
Yes, that's right. He was most valuable because he stayed out of the way.
Gotcha.
Boy, talk about staying out of the way. Nemechek is the guy that's not in this shot.
No.
He's out there about 100 yards in front of him. When he said his car felt like a go-kart, he says, when you go to a go-kart track, you get that little racy feel. He said that car feels that good. And usually these Busch cars or Winston Cup cars are a handful. If this car is driving that good, he's going to be tough to handle today.
See him there coming off turn 2. He almost picked the nose of the car off the ground. He gets this good bite out of 2. That's Kelly Moore in the black 47, the Jordan Lumber car down on the bottom, taking the measure of Terry Labonte and now Ricky Craven, one of the hometown favorites here. In full color on the front page of the sports section of the Concord paper this morning. Craven in his car, and he moves up into the 4th spot past Labonte. Labonte left the window open.
Good racer. Kelly Moore, you know, we jokingly at the top of the show said, what do you do here in fourth? And he did it the old-fashioned way. He earned it. He's really running. His car's working good.
Here are the point chasers. Steve Grissom, the leader in 31. David Green, second in points in 44. Battling Bobby Dotter, the yellow car, Tommy Houston, and Hut Strickland.
Nothing unusual. The points leader, Grissom, qualified back in his usual 30-something place. And believe me, folks, he'll come to the front. I saw him this morning. They were putting a new engine in the car. Steve and the guys, they question at times why they qualify off the pace like they do. But boy, when that race starts, he goes to the front.
Must be Harry Gantz's role model.
Yeah. It's kind of the same gameplay. And I know they said they'd like to qualify better, but I'll tell you what, sometimes you'll change that qualifying for good finishes.
That's it. Here's Nemechek out in front, and Kelly Moore now side by side with Ricky Craven. They battled side by side for a couple of years here on the Busch North Series before Craven went south.
I tell you what's good about this racetrack. That's the patented move. Get your nose up under somebody, drive up beside them, off the corner. But these guys have learned now that they can drive back on that outside in the middle of that corner and maybe hold the pass off. So we're seeing some 2 and 3 breast racing in these corners, and it's pretty darn flat.
We saw it earlier today, Neil, in the USAC Formula 2000 race. Chris Simmons of East Granby, Connecticut, taking the win on the restart from Howard Katz, whose engine faded at the finish. Defending champ Simmons had a great ride. That's a kid that's headed for Indy. Learn that name. Right here, though, the Chevy dealers of New England 250. They are still side by side at mid-pack. That's Bobby Dotter, the yellow car on the inside, and outside is Tommy Houston, the Rosen Stores Ford, and trouble for Shauna Robinson. Given the big wave that she's down toward the inside.
More than likely, see that car to the left side, smoke coming out of the back of it. They were probably anticipating maybe oil in that corner. Hey, look, there's something maybe in this corner. Let's tiptoe down through here and see what happens.
Oh, that's Dick McCabe. Tough break for the Fisher Snowplow Pontiac.
And the caution did come out like it probably was oil. Shauna probably saw that guy lose an engine, put some oil in, and she was warning the rest of the field.
Lap 18 is the caution flag for McCabe, who was here last month with Kenny Schrader driving his other car. They had quite a battle.
I could have told him it's too hot for a snowplow.
Like I said, wait a minute, the weather will change. So the Lawn Pontiac heads for the garage. Short day for McCabe, who was a provisional starter for today's race. 18 laps complete. We'll be right back to New Hampshire. Been a little tough getting this one started to run sustained laps under green. We're on the third caution of the day. Rodney Combs is on pit road presently. They're going to lift the hood on his car. Straighten things out there as we get set to go back to green here in another lap or two. Also in the pit, Stubb Fadden, patent gas Buick out of North Haverhill, New Hampshire. A little trouble getting that hood up on Rodney's car. Riverside press board.
Looks like he might have tapped something and have it altered around just a little bit, and having trouble getting the hood closed on it.
We were walking around the garage earlier, and I was asked, where's the horn on these cars? I said, well, it's right there along the front strip.
Yeah.
Where the bumper ought to be, that's the horn.
The only thing that really some of them pay attention to.
Well, it looked like he used it, and then they had to get it nailed down. There's your top 5. Ricky Craven has a strong shot to go to victory lane today. This is his home track, if you will. He lived a number of years in Concord. He's from nearby Maine. Still looking for that elusive first win on the Busch Series. Almost got it a year ago, July, down at Volusia County Speedway in Florida, was leading in the closing stages. Steve Grissom ended up with the win. But there's Craven's DuPont number 99, weaving the tires back and forth. Kelly Moore right behind him, Labonte, Larry Pearson, Todd Bodine, Chuck Bound, and Jeff Burton. We're going to have about another lap or two of caution here, so we'll take this pause for New Hampshire International Speedway. Stay with us. Getting set for the restart, one lap car. Hermie Sadler up on the outside of race leader Joe Nemechek, Robert Presley, Ricky Craven, Kelly Moore, Terry Labonte, Larry Pearson, Todd Bodine, Chuck Bound, Jeff Burton, and Jamie Obey as we get set to go back to green, coming out of turn 4. And we're green at lap 22.
There's Sadler up there again attempting to get that lap back, but boy, when you've got somebody like Nemechek with the strength he's shown, it's hard to get it back away from him. There's Robert Presley, drops in behind Sadler. Sadler's trying to get the lap back. 59 car Presley's trying to get the lead.
Single file on Dobson back about 10 spot on back, and there's some of it. Tim Fedowa The rookie there has the Banana Boat sponsorship. Troy Beebe didn't make the show, so they transferred that over to Speedway's car, and there's Earnhardt. You saw the right side door caved in on his car. Tommy Houston down to the inside, in the middle of that pack. Trying to gain a spot as they go in the corner. That's Houston in blue and white, dropped in single file.
We talked about tires at the top of the show, Mike. They've got a new tire here, a little bit wider tire, but the guys really get a good hold on this racetrack. Here we see the car of Hut Strickland trying the outside around Chuck Bound. He's sticking the nose out there. Couldn't quite get up beside him up off that corner. Bound gets him that outside lane. Says, if you want to go around that way, you can do it. I'm going to keep this inside.
Bound drives down into the corner. Jeff Burton just got past the both of them in the Baby Ruth car. Bill Martossi. There's Strickland.
Well, that's a lot of times on trouble.
And one car is up and hard up into the wall. Brian Ross of Boston Spa, New York, who has one Busch North win this season and a whole slew of wins on the modified tour, will bring the caution out for the 4th time. Striking the wall between turns 1 and 2 and lap 26. Under caution again.
Well, I was going to talk about before, Mike. You see these guys drive in the corner. You can drive down in there under braking, but the hard part is to get on the throttle up off those corners, and that's where we just see some of these guys turn these cars around up off the corner under power.
So Brian Ross against the fence, trying to get restarted and back to the garage area. 4th caution of the day. We'll be right back. There's a Shaker Village nearby New Hampshire International Speedway where they show you how to make these brooms, and you can take one home. All made by hand from native materials. Boy, if the NASCAR inspectors had that tool, enforcement would be easy, Neil.
It would be the only thing you might get your finger caught in the thing when they're checking deals here.
Here's your top 10 after 28 laps and 4 caution flags. Joe Nemechek, Robert Presley, Ricky Craven, Kelly Moore, Terry Labonte in 5th. Larry Pearson, Todd Bodine, Jeff Burton has moved up, so has Hut Strickland and Chuck Bound. They are towing Brian Ross's car back to the garage area, and Joe Bessie was black flagged during that caution. At the request of the crew, his radio was not working, his two-way radio to the crew. So they brought him in to fix him up.
I think that's one thing people don't realize about the flag stand. It's not only during the course of a race just to punish people or tell them you got to do this. It's used as a safety feature. If something wrong with the car, you can get a hold of the tower and they'll send the drivers in.
Neil, it's probably the longest list of cars that did not make the field any time this year. Jamie James, the motorcycle racer, trying to make his debut. Tom Rosati, former winner of the Oxford 250. Randy Snyder, Barney McRae, Dana Patton, former Busch North champ. Bob Brunel, Scott DeWare, road racer. Roy Payne didn't make it. Dave Dion, he's won the Oxford 250. Buzzy Bazanson, Dave Branscombe, the Pennsylvania Kenny Wallace, Marty Knoll, Michael Olson, Jeff Spraker, Anthony Raynone, Troy Beebe, Keith Flamel, Mike Hovis, the Mike Greenwell car, the Red Sox star, and the last guy who just missed it, new sponsorship from the Lipton Corporation for Dave Resendiz, and he missed it by 1 spot.
I'll tell you what, some of the busiest people this weekend has been the NASCAR inspectors.
Yes.
Because they have to take each car and inspect it just as thoroughly if it was the pole setter or the guy that went home.
In case you're wondering, the track record, 17 caution flags here in July of 1990, the Busch record. We had 26 at Hickory last year. 4 today in 26 laps. And we're back to green. With, on the outside this time, Sadler and Earnhardt trying to get a lap back, but Joe Nemechek just steps out, and here comes Robert Presley with him on the low side. Good start for Presley.
Yeah, before he got caught behind the lap car and allowed Nemechek to get away with it, this time he clears the lap car and is directly in behind him.
Ricky Craven underneath Earnhardt.
I don't think you're going to see some of these lap cars give up a lot of resistance that are a lot of laps down. They're going to pretty well give it to this lead group. And let the leaders fight at it. If you're 1 lap down, Earnhardt is like 6 or 7 down. I just can't imagine him being right in the middle of it. He'd give him a lot of room that time.
Well, still it's a long day.
There's Presley.
Yeah.
This is about as strong a surge as we've seen anyone make against Nemechek, even though we're just a few laps into the race. from what I was watching and Green and Jarrett, a lot of guys, it looked like Nemechek had everybody pretty well covered. Presley's staying right with him now.
Out of turn 4, 32 laps will be complete this time by. And Robert Presley, guy who loves to lead.
There's something about being right behind the leader. You know, a while ago Nemechek got the lead. Presley, he was back behind a lap car, and they kind of got away from him. But when you can see that guy and get a sniff of that lead, you'll set up on the edge of that seat a little bit more. Presley's putting a lot of heat on Nemechek now. Right in the middle of the corner, looks like Presley's car made a good surge a while ago. There he comes again from the center out. He stays right with him.
Nemechek's car had just a little wiggle right at the exit of the corner as he tried to square it up.
Yeah, when you're chasing a guy, if you see that wiggle, you want to put a little more pressure on, make him wiggle it a couple of more times. Nemechek's car's not handling on the bottom as good as it did earlier. He might be having his tire go, have a little bit of tire going down or something, but it seems like Presley's able to stay with him a lot better now.
Yeah, but there's Larry Pearson moving up on the inside of Terry Labonte. Yes, I do. No, I don't. And here comes Hut Strickland.
That car, Hut Strickland, has probably made the strongest move since the race started. He started way back in 20-something position, I believe. And now I think that's 7th or 8th place he's battling for.
From 26th to well into the top 10. You're right, Neil.
I was talking to Red Farmer yesterday, and he said they unloaded the car. This is the car that Davey ran up at, the last race. I forget where we ran, Mike. I think it was up at Milwaukee. Milwaukee, yes, Milwaukee. Said they unloaded it, and they haven't turned a jack screw on it. But it looks like something that just when we were talking about, it looked like he had a problem. He was moving up, and then he dropped back like 4 positions all of a sudden. Yeah, he has got a problem.
Yeah,
he's falling back.
He was at 6th, and now he's falling back. There's Bill Elliott alongside, and Steve Grissom, and way out of the throttle now is Strickland.
Yeah, he's falling out down the straightaway. That's evidently the motor's laying down on a little bit. Maybe not a little bit, maybe a lot.
Yeah, you drop a cylinder in one of these things, there's only 5 left. That's not enough. Yeah, Strickland draws to the inside, and will come to the pits this time. Back up front, 4-car breakaway. Nemechek, Presley, Ricky Craven, and a lap down, Hermie Sadler is right with the leaders. Hermie Sadler is 1 lap down to update you. Dale Earnhardt, 11 laps behind. And Ward Burton spent 20 laps in the pits repairing his car. One car rolling very slow toward turn number 3. I don't know if that car will get around. It might be the Jeff Berry car.
You see the leaders coming up on him right now. He's on the apron. He's out of the way. Not a factor as far as getting in the way, but the question is, can he make it back to the pits?
That's Jeff Berry from Norwich, Connecticut, the X1R engine additive car, an Oldsmobile. And it looks like he'll make it around on the apron. We're going to stay green and take you back with the leader. Back straightaway.
You know, Presley might have made a real hard charge at Nemechek a while ago because he was all over him. And here we see Nemechek doing the deal he did earlier, just pulling out a little bit, just stretching it a little bit each lap. If a lap car, it's going to be questionable him getting down pit road.
Well, it's either that, Neil, or Presley might have said, okay, I can run with him. Now let's ride a bit.
Yeah. Okay, when you deal with this long a race, this is pretty close to the distance they ran the Winston Cup cars up here. A long run on these Busch cars, and I'm telling you, people, you abuse these 6-cylinder motors. The only way to make them run is twist them out of the frame. Use a lot of RPM, and I'm telling you, the fuses are very short, and the question is how many can go to 250 at a hard pace.
Good battle right there. Larry Pearson, that black and yellow number 92 car, he's been battling there with Todd Bodine and Kelly Moore. He was underneath Moore at turn 3 a lap ago. Maybe not try him here in the front straightaway, but he's winding up for that run down the backstretch once again.
Yeah, they tried him outside, inside, outside. He tried him on every side of the racetrack. There we see him taking a look at that inside.
And here he comes.
If he can get the nose up there, he's got a lot of advantage coming up off this 4th turn.
That's 4th place at stake. Moore's going to hold it.
Yeah, Kelly Moore says, hey, I'm going to stay out here. You pay that price. When you dive in hard like that, you swap it out for being able to get off the corner. You drive in hard, you can't get off as good. So we seem able to get in really hard. They catch him coming up off the corner.
Now Todd Bodine's on the outside of Pearson in that black and yellow Stanley Tools machine. And that's part of the fun of flat track racing, Neil. If this track was banked like a rocking hammer at Dover, you could sail it off into the corner, the car would stick, and you could both jump out of the corner. But like you say here, if you're going to take a little, then you got to give a little.
Yeah, it's just a natural trade-off. You're going to run around this track 32 seconds. You might do it going in hard or running off hard. You're not going to do both of them really good.
Right. Hut Strickland has gone to the garage area. Engine trouble. Now it's Todd Bodine to the inside of Kelly Moore. Hut Strickland dropped the cylinder. Bodine to the inside of Kelly Moore, who doesn't want to give up that spot easily, but will have to coming out of the corner. Now Jeff Burton, the Baby Ruth Ford, is right there.
Kelly Moore likes that outside. He'll let him up there, but he sails it off down in that corner, getting in. But see, right here is where it hurts him, getting up off of the corner. They're able to get by him.
He opened the door, and Chuck Bound's going to try to find a way through it. And he does.
Yeah, when you open that door, more people come in than you want to. You get more neighbors than you need.
He's got a lumber yard for sponsor. He needs to get him a bigger door.
That's right. Or either latched or closed.
Right.
There's Labonte. Looks like he's dropping back a little bit on the outside. I don't know if he just got hung out a little bit. Smoke right here going in the corner. Big puff of smoke. It looked like it came out of the car of Todd Bodine. Maybe it's Earnhardt's car. Saw a big cloud of smoke as they entered that corner. Nobody stopped it.
Larry Pearson hung to the outside, and Jeff Burton will get underneath and on pass. There's the smoker. It is Bodine. Or no.
Yes, Todd Bodine.
Right behind Earnhardt down the back straightaway.
Watch when he lifts, Mike. When he lets out the throttle, he's had a big puff in each corner. Okay, don't smoke this time. There you go. Ooh. That right there will not run many laps.
Nope. When that comes out of the exhaust pipe like that, that's internal hemorrhaging.
Now watch how fast it'll run just before the big explosion. This is, for some reason, when all that stuff gets loose and they're fixing to come out, it will run some nice laps.
And don't you think some of that's not getting on that left rear tire of his car and all over the windshields of everybody else?
Yeah.
NASCAR's got an eye on it. You know, they deem it to be a hazard, they will pull them in.
The only hazard I see right now is from mosquitoes. He's definitely sending them out down here. You know, look at the car. The car really is not losing much speed. It's just got a problem. Sometimes that's a ring broken or something on a piston. And as you back out of the throttle, it sucks oil up in the combustion chamber and just reignites the oil. And that's where the smoke comes from. But boy,
it looks like it happens on the transition from being off the gas when he jumps back in the throttle between the corner there.
Well, that's a lot of it, Mike. You suck the oil in there. When you mash your gas, it's like lighting the fire again.
Yeah.
And then he burns whatever sucks back up in there. He lights it up as he stands back in the gas.
Well, he's going to get a chance to find out what it is, Neil, because NASCAR does have the black flag out for Todd.
I would tell him to look on the tailpipe on the left rear. It's the best place to start looking. These cars have dual exhaust out the left side here, and his rear pipe is pumping. He's got one side of the engine laying down, and the people aren't in a real big hurry to get over there.
That's Clyde McLeod on the headset to him.
Maybe they're looking for their gas mask.
See, the trouble is, he pipes this, shut it off. When it comes out the exhaust pipe, it's from something inside the engine, and that's not anything you're going to fix there on pit road.
No, and the worst thing you can do is say, hey, let's get out there and ride. Well, you go down in the corner, and it blows up, and you knock the fence down. Not only do you lose an engine, you lose a race car. So they're doing the smart thing, take it to the garage.
Todd has joined the Raymock team to run Winston Cup as Dale Earnhardt comes in. Jeff Berry's in the pit. And Earnhardt's going to the garage as well. But down in the garage area this morning, a lot of big smiles and handshakes and discussion between Frank Cece, who owns that Fiddle-Faddle car, and the sponsor, and Mike McLaughlin, who is right now the front runner for that seat for next year.
You know, what a natural transition. You get these Busch guys. As soon as one of the good drivers moves into Winston Cup, there's another excellent driver coming in. You know, Todd Bodine did a great job up at Michigan. Good qualifying, had a problem with the race start, but they've got a lot of potential with that team now.
Now, we've been through this before, but Mark Martin is not here. That is Mike Stefanik, the former modified champ, who carries the Valvoline Auto Palace colors here in the Busch North Series in car number 6. Third start here at New Hampshire as he's running down Chuck Bound. David Green, Tommy Houston, and Larry Pearson dropping back a bit.
And he would probably like the same results Mark Martin's had the last few weeks. Who wouldn't? Boy, he's been flying.
To finish the story on Frank Cece and Scott and Jeff Welliver, that 34 car, they tend to stay up north for their drivers. They've got Todd in the car, and Mike McLaughlin, who with Clyde McLeod, the crew chief on that car, won the modified national championship for Billy Carrazzo. I think it's a good bet you'll see McLaughlin in that car unless something really out of the ordinary happens.
Mike, there's a good driver pool, great talent up this part of the country, and it's nice to see people get in there with them and work with them. And they come down in the Busch Series or Winston Cup, and they're awful strong. It's just now getting to see people take advantage of the driver pool, the talent in this area.
Look at Jack Sprague in a Staff America car. He's overhauled Terry Labonte. And another smoker down there in turn number 1. Coming up off the corner, Reggie Ruggiero, modified 8. The Pyroil Auto Talent car. You're looking at Joe Nemechek. He fills up the screen all by himself because that's where he's running. He's got about 7 car lengths on Robert Presley right now as we complete 51 laps. There's the separation back to Presley. First to second place, and you see back to third. Ricky Craven, Kelly Moore, and back a little further. There's that duel with Stefanik, Chuck Bound, David Green, and Tommy Houston.
David Green's car really working well on the bottom. He's trying to get up under these guys, get the nose up under him. We see him take a look to the inside of Chuck Bound. Car seems to work well right on the bottom of the race. Matter of fact, below the line and going in the corners. We see Pearson. Tommy Houston. There we go. As soon as Green takes a look to the inside, Tommy Houston's wanting to close the door and get outside it. But see, he couldn't quite do it. He's trying to get the 44 car trapped inside. Either him make the pass out there or the 44 going by. David Green has tried repeatedly to get up under him off that corner there.
With these flat corners, Neil, and you know they're so long coming out here, you look like you can get under that guy because the turn looks so wide. And then when you get there, you find you need all the asphalt there is out to the concrete just to hold the car.
Boy, right there.
Trouble on Stefanik.
Yep, had problem, and it really stacked that group up behind him. They did a good job when he had that problem to avoid hitting.
That was almost a 4-car pileup. And Mike Stefanik's Pontiac, owned by Don Ling, who became a granddaddy for the first time yesterday.
You know, those drivers, once they come off that corner, they make that commitment on the floor, wide open, and it's hard to get off of that transition and not ram somebody in the rear. They did a good job of not stacking 3 or 4 cars up there.
We'll stay green here at New Hampshire. 4 early caution flags. We've been green now for the last nearly 30 laps.
Looks like the 6th car did tear something up on the right front. He might have tapped him just a little bit. I see something flapping on the 66, but doesn't seem to be too bad.
Well, let's get out and meet a dejected fellow who had a lot of hometown fans up here. He's a Northeast native, Todd Bodine. Randy's with him.
Well, the fans aren't too happy right now. Neither is Todd Bodine. What happened, Todd?
Well, we're not really sure. Something in the motor. Never had that problem. Never felt it before, so I really don't know what it is. It's a darn shame. This Fiddle Faddle Chevrolet was flying. I was basically biding my time there, and I got by Larry and them guys and started leaving them, and it happened right when I got to Earnhardt. Something in the motor. I really don't know what, but the car was handling great. The Goodyear tires were great. Chevrolet and Fiddle Faddle, I think we could have had a good day. The car was handling good.
For fans that are new to this sport, they know you've jumped in a Winston Cup car. You enabling yourself to do that. That's true.
Places like Darlington and Dover and Rockingham. At least that's what I'm hoping. You know, we got a good team in the Winston Cup team. I know they're back home watching. Hey, bunch of guys. Zachary Stores, Ford. You know, we got a good chance of that. So another day. Good luck next time.
Todd Bodine out of it early here at New Hampshire. Into it early is Robert Presley. Into it early coming off the corner. He's going to have Joe Nemechek.
And you might, just a few laps ago, we saw a 7-car length lead. I don't know what's happened in Nemechek's car. The tires went away a little bit or whatever. But Presley's really working on him now.
They run down on concrete down at the bottom of the corner there in 1 and 2. Was down after the Winston Cup race. Similar to Martinsville, with a sealer over it.
You know, this is one of those deals, you run a guy down, the hard part is getting past him. Got some lap traffic up ahead of him here. Presley's car made a strong move right in the middle. If he can get up far enough to pull over, I say pull over, but you got to deal with this traffic right here. Presley might have that line on the inside. It depends which way this lap traffic goes. The problem looks like they're going to have to split the traffic, and you really don't want to have to do that. There he goes up under him.
Yeah, Nemechek had the lift.
Ooh, and there's Elliott. Now, Bill Elliott in the 11 car, the red car, moved over, saw the position they were in, kind of getting themselves in a pinch. He moved over, gave him a lot of room.
And Bob Dragon up on the high side. Milton, Vermont veteran, and that's the first lead change of the day, putting Robert Presley in front.
I'm surprised to see Nemechek's car, unless he's got some major problem, to give up that quick. He had such a good lead, and then all of a sudden it went away on him. Kelly Moore battling down on the inside, working up around Sprague.
And Larry Pearson on the high side there in 92. And Mike Wallace right with them. These were all among the front runners in the first 30 laps of this race.
Looks like Kelly Moore. Boy,
way up
how
there.
far he got out.
Yep. Gathered it back in, though. Way slow coming out of turn 2, though, is Pearson. He's got a lot of momentum to regain because he got way up loose in the marbles. Joe Nemechek had the lead, just surrendered it to Robert Presley. Glenn Jarrett, is there a problem?
Not really, Mike. I talked to Vic Kangas. He said that Joe just didn't really want to push the car that hard right now. In fact, Vic folded his hands under his head and laid over like he was sleeping a little bit. He's just taking it easy right now, not going to push the car. 250 miles a long way. Another thing we ought to look at, too, the 25 car of Hermie Sadler has 4 fresh tires on. They changed tires on his last 2 pit stops in a bid to try to get that lap back on the racetrack. He's caught Nemechek now and is gaining on Robert Presley also.
Glenn, another side of that, too, is he has fuel in the car. He stopped real late a while ago. He's got the tires and fuel. If this thing continues to go green and these leaders stop, that's going to put him at the tail end of that lead lap at worst. He'll have a chance to get it back. If he can go long enough and catch a caution, he'll get it back automatically.
Right. Rodney Combs is going to surrender a lap to Robert Presley, the Alliance Training Center Chevrolet, as we've completed 63 laps here at New Hampshire International Speedway. Robert Presley, your race leader, Joe Nemechek, Ricky Craven, and Jeff Burton in the 4th spot. We'll be right back. Of the day has just come out here at New Hampshire. Chuck Bown has slapped the wall down in turn number 1. You look at the right rear on that car, and the left front tire is right down on the rim as he comes to the pit. Let's show you what happened in turn 1.
Here we see 3 cars coming off the corner. Got down all the way on the flat part of the track, it looked like. Looked like he was all the way down the flat, or maybe that was the car under him. The red car on the left was all the way down the flat, got into him, and it was sending him sailing up the outside wall. Couldn't tell who that was on the inside, but they were 3 deep getting in that corner. One of them was on the apron.
Quick stops for Nemechek and Robert Presley.
Boy, Nemechek's pit selection paid off right then. He was in front of Presley, and Presley had to wait for him to go.
Most all the leaders took this occasion to come on to pit road. 5th caution of the day, lap 64. Could be a one-stop race from here, Neil.
Yeah, they could do it. You know, that was you know, Nemechek was. I mean, the 59 car Presley came in first. I think they were actually through before Nemechek, but he couldn't get out of the pits, and in turn, Nemechek's got the lead.
As the champion, he has the first choice of pits, and he took the last one down pit road. Presley was pitted right behind him. Balance of the field coming in there. Sadler is not going to stay out for track position. He'll come in along with Bobby Dragon, Rodney Combs, Bill Elliott on pit road this time. Martin Truex, Richard Lassiter, Ward Burton, Reggie Ruggiero, who ran in the modified race last night, we said did not post a top 10 finish. Wayne Anderson, the Yaphank Long Island native, won out there at Riverhead. Jan Lady was 2nd, Doug Hevron 3rd. Bruce D'Alessandro, one of his best finishes, in 4th. Rick Fuller chasing the point lead in 5th. Let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
Well, Mike, we're in Joe Nemechek's pits, and we see what the problem was. Look at his tires. These are the right side tires that came off the car. You see this right there? That's a blister. That's the right rear tire. That's the right front. Here's the right rear, also has blisters on it. That's the reason Joe was slowing down so much. We're going to walk up here and check on Robert Presley. He's pitted right beside him to see if they have a similar problem.
Nemechek back up front for the 2nd time today. He and Robert Presley, the only drivers to lead this race so far. And as you see from the graphic, he is seeking his first win of the year. Last year, they got their first win and their first pole of the year in August. Here we are again. 5 top 5 finishes, 7 top 10s, but his last win was right here last year. We'll be back to New Hampshire after this word.
Today's exclusive TNN coverage of the New England Chevy Dealers 250 is brought to you by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car.
Quick look at the top 10 as they line up for the restart. Nemechek, Presley, Jeff Burton, Green, and Houston. Craven, Sprague, Peck, Leslie, and Wallace. For an update on that tire story, here's Randy Pemberton.
Well, I'm sitting with some Hoosier tires here. These just came off of Joe Bessie's car. No problems at all. I just talked to a Hoosier representative. So the Hoosiers, they're running well. They have 7 in the field today with Ward Burton not running so well now. Take a look at a set of Goodyears. I talked to the Goodyear reps before the race. They said the tires might possibly blister up just a little bit, but really the...
Set for the restart. Green flag is out, and it is Joe Nemechek. Once again, he is quick on the restart, leaves plenty of room for Hermie Sadler to drop in, separating Nemechek from Robert Presley.
Something Nemechek's got to think about now. He knows he might have a little something he needs to be concerned with. Look at Sadler going around.
Sadler, he has lost it. It comes right up in front of the field. They all missed him.
How did they all miss
what? In pre-race, they had the Joey Chitwood thrill show, and it was good. But it was nothing like that.
No, I see Pearson. I'm not sure who he got to, but I see Pearson coming out of the grass. It was right up against what?
And Kelly Moore.
Yeah, they were right down against the inside guardrail. We couldn't see them over there. I don't think anyone hit the 25 car, but it looks like they got into something else.
Probably each other as they were trying to avoid Hermie Sadler. Let's have a look at it.
They're already coming up off the corner there. Okay, this is Pearson. Okay, Pearson runs in the back of a car there. The Sadler incident was way up in front of this. Pearson hit the back, probably the Kelly Moore car, because there's Kelly Moore going down the apron. It looked like Pearson nailed Kelly Moore in the rear when they lifted. Kelly Moore and that bunch of them lifted for the 25, and they just stacked it up and sent both those guys inside. We can see right here a little more what happens, maybe.
Watch the black and yellow 92 of Pearson and that black number 47 of Kelly Moore.
We see Sadler going around. Okay, there comes Pearson by, and they see the wreck up in front of them. They start slowing down. Yeah, Pearson got into the back of Kelly Moore, shot Moore down the inside apron, and Pearson went in behind him back there. The rest of these guys did a tremendous job of avoiding the 25 Hermie Sadler sitting in the middle of the racetrack.
Neil, let's look at it again, and let's show you that first angle of replay. I think shows it a little better. Now you'll see them coming in from the right side.
Okay, Pearson is a car that's got a car-length gap in between them. Here he comes real quick. Wham, right in the back of Kelly Moore. There's Moore, you see, the dark black-looking car headed down the inside apron. Pearson backs it down in there right beside him.
Another car that sustained heavy damage was Jeff Burton in the Baby Ruth Ford. It's pretty well banged up on the front end, as you can see.
And here comes the old duct tape treatment. Tape them back together and let him go.
What do we ever do before duct tape?
Parked them, cut the pieces off, put new pieces on.
Now that's D-U-C-T tape, not duck as in they quack and they fly tape.
We want to be sure and use that in New Hampshire. We're not taping up any ducks up here.
No, sir. They use it in the heating business to tape up heating ducts that flow air. You know all about this.
Yeah, in TV business, it's gaffer's tape. Yep. Everybody's got a different name. But
here's 200-mile-an-hour tape.
It saves everybody.
Yeah.
25 car got a little rap in the door right there. I think part of that was when him and Earnhardt got hung up together earlier.
And coming to the pit lane is Bill Elliott. We are under caution again. 6th one of the day at lap 70. We'll be right back. Getting set to go back to green this time. 73 of 250 laps have been completed. Everybody's been on pit road. Let's show you a different angle of Hermie Sadler's spin and the resulting mayhem.
The 8 car already had the damage on it as he came into the shot there. It's hard to tell what happened, but look at these guys getting around. That car sitting sideways, and what makes you feel so good about that? That's driver's door facing traffic, and that's the worst feeling in the world, sitting there watching those guys coming straight at you.
Jeff Burton's car with a lot of that duct tape.
Mike, evidently, he stacked up further back in the corner because when he came into that shot, he had this damage already done to the right front.
Ready to go back to green.
You know, years ago, you could beat an old short track car up and it didn't hurt it too bad. But nowadays, the aerodynamics and these front air dams are built so specifically to nail these cars down, you damage them and it really hurts performance.
On the inside, Joe Nemechek gets the restart green flag. Hauls the field back to turn 1. Robert Presley right with him. David Green is now up to 3rd. Ricky Craven 4th after pit stop. David Green gained a lot of ground there. Reggie Ruggiero is tucked in now between Nemechek and Presley. He is a lap down. Modified ace from Forestville, Connecticut. Driving for Ed Close. That number 13 car, the red and black Pyroil Chemicals car. Presley's going to look on the bottom, and the Reg is going to hold him for the moment.
Yeah, I'm I'm wondering now, these lead guys, car Nemechek, the 59 car, they know they might be flirting with a little bit of tire problem. Not a problem, just something that's going to hurt their performance later. How hard do you run this long when you know you can go the rest of the way if you have to?
In car with Shauna Robinson. She looks at the field. Midway down the back straightaway. Kelly Moore is way at the tail end of the line, Neil. Either a bad pit stop or perhaps a problem on that car because he does not appear to be gaining ground. He is way back in the pack.
Well, you know, when he got spun around there and backed it through that dirt, sometimes that suspension stuff will take a little bit of a beating, and the chassis not even set the same when you come back. If we have some plates on the springs, or there's so many things could happen when you turn one around at that speed.
One thing that's happened on this restart is we have not gone back to single file racing.
They forgot to.
I don't know. From about 6 on back, the whole field is double file. From Shauna Robinson looking at Larry Pearson's car. A little wrinkle to the fender. Hi, Larry.
Yeah, that's up close and personal right here.
Yep, that's trunk lid cam. Now Ricky Craven gets past David Green. Craven is really running here. That DuPont 99.
Something about bringing a guy back around his hometown. He kind of digs a little bit deeper for that kind of performance you want to see.
You always run well in Alabama.
Before the big crashes. I tell you, that shot you were talking about this morning, the front page of the papers up here, this color of this car, that was a heck of a shot to have on the front page.
The guy who ran the press there in Concord really had his hands full because there's about every kind of Dayglow color on there.
Trying to see who this red car right here. Oh, that's Tracy Leslie.
Yep.
Last week's winner. He's right there battling with the lead now.
That's 3rd, 4th, and 5th place, and then the lapped car of Ruggiero.
Won a couple of weeks ago up at Indianapolis.
Right.
I'll get it straight in a minute.
I hope you remember to turn left.
Yeah.
Good battle, 3rd, 4th, and 5th there. David Green must have had a killer pit stop.
Yeah, either that or they just put some fuel in it and, you know, maybe continue with their tires. Sometimes when you have tires that are, and you're blistering them, if you've got some old used ones that have gotten a little bit harder, when you did a lot of practice on, you'll put the oldest ones you have on. They cured a little bit more and they're a little bit harder. Usually the blister problem comes from a little bit too soft a compound. So some older tires that haven't blistered tend to run better.
You heard Joe Nemechek's pit, a little bit newness to the Goodyear tire here. Bob Newton from Hoosier said they brought the same tire they ran at Indianapolis Raceway Park up here to New Hampshire. Trouble, Richard Lassiter. Oh, having a tough ride up into the wall with the High Point betting car. And he's going to pull away and get that thing back to the pit. But it will bring out the caution flag. Turn 2.
Looks like he got it slowed down enough. He didn't do a whole lot of damage when he got into the fence.
Caution at lap 81. 7th of the day, 12 in this race last year. So while the caution is out and the field regroups, we'll take this pause from New Hampshire International Speedway. We'll be right back. Welcome back to New Hampshire International Speedway. Mike Joy with Neil Bonnet, Glenn Jarrett and Randy Pemberton on pit road today. As Paul Harvey says, and now the rest of the story. I'm sure that's copyrighted, but anyway, here it is from Shauna Robinson's car. That is Richard Lassiter just up in front. Let's see what happened.
It looked like Lassiter slowed down really, really quick for Shauna to get up there that quick on him and turned down under him. The car broke loose. She got into him and grabbed 3rd gear and went on down the road.
Another angle, but it's already started here.
The only thing I would question is it looked like maybe the 5 slowed real fast for her to be able to get up under him that quick in the turn. Whatever the end result was, the right front hit the left rear, and then he spun.
Damage to both cars. Also on pit road is Larry Pearson. And we'll go to Glenn Jarrett.
Well, Mike, they were using the Stanley hammer on the Stanley Tools car. They're beating the hood back down where he got in the back of Kelly Moore. I asked Tony Lambert, the crew chief, if there was a problem on the car. He said he didn't think so, but Larry reported that they have picked up a push. They've been in twice now, making adjustments on the car, trying to get the sheet metal down on the car. So he doesn't think you've been anything, but everything's going to be okay now as they've made those adjustments. So let's go to Randy Pemberton.
Well, I'm down here in David Green's pit. They've really been working their way up through traffic. I tell you, and they've done a lot of it on pit road. I asked these guys and said, have you been practicing your pit stops? They said no, they haven't been practicing. But they came in 10th about 2 pit stops ago, and now they're running up front. So he's made up most of his ground in here in the pit. Now, I did talk to the crew about how's the car running. It's a little bit tight, then it's a little bit loose, so they're right on the edge. So right now, they've got it where they want it. It's up to David Green.
That's the 44 car, the Slim Jim car. David McGehee and crew doing quite a good job for David Green today. Joe Nemechek, the leader. Tommy Houston, Joe Bessie, Mike Wallace, and Jamie Obey. That's your top 5. And we're set to go racing with Chad Little's car being pushed back to the garage area. He would be the 10th car out of the race. Actually, they're pushing it behind the wall where work continues on his and Chuck Bounds and Nathan Butkey's machine.
I tell you who lost on this shuffle was Robert Presley. He was right up there in 2nd place, and it looks like he's back in about 10th place or so. Must have had a problem on that pit stop. He's way back in the field. He's been up front all day.
So we're set to go back to racing this time. Pace truck is in. And at lap 85, we're going to look for green. Slow restart.
I was going to say, this looks like a first-gear restart.
So they drag race down that 1,500-foot front straightaway. Nemechek stretching it. Tommy Houston's up there in 2nd spot.
Harvey Sadler up there again, trying to get that lap back. He's fought at it all day long.
As has Reggie Ruggiero in that 13 car. And there's Houston, that blue and white Ford. There's his storage machine. Joe Bessie up there, Mike Wallace.
They must have had a good pit stop because they put the 6 car right back in it of Houston.
And there's Ricky Craven and Terry Labonte.
I was kind of wondering where that shot was coming from because...
See the spoiler up there in the top right corner? That's the rear spoiler of Shauna's car.
I was going to say, that thing is, there's 2 lanes below them and they're 2 abreast. I was wondering where the car was at.
That cameraman hanging off there is doing a heck of a job.
You better pull his speed in right now.
Yep, because here comes Craven.
Look at that chewed up looking 8 car coming here. That's one that had that damage in that earlier wreck. And there we are on the booth on the other side. I saw it.
Robert Presley came in for left side tires. Neil, that's what put him so far back on this restart. Robert Presley is nearly a straightaway back and a lot of traffic to go.
Yeah, that traffic is the tough part. The distance isn't too bad. It's just a matter of what he's got to deal with to get back to Nemechek.
So it's Nemechek the leader. A long gap to Tommy Houston. Joe Bessie is 3rd. Mike Wallace is 4th. Jamie Obey is in the 5th position. Then a big knot of cars battling. There's Presley right in the middle of your screen, that black and gold number 59, sweeping to the outside. And now darting back down low in the front straightaway. Kelly Moore just in front of him. He's going to go with Moore around some of the other traffic. But it is rush hour out here right now for Robert Presley.
You know, we saw earlier Moore's car might not have been as good as it was at the start, but now it looks like they've got it back. I don't know what they've done, but he's able to work that outside lane. He's been passing cars consistently. Just there, as there he goes on the outside. The black car and Presley following. He's been able to work that outside lane as good as anyone here all day long.
That black car is 47, Kelly Moore, who's also trying to get back to the front.
He's actually getting away from Presley out there in that outside lane. Nowhere to go now. They're stacking up. There's Bill Elliott, the red number 11 car in that outside.
Yeah, and on the inside at the front of that pack is Tim Fedowa in the banana boat car. The gold car there, Mike McLaughlin, 51. He's trying to find some running room, gets underneath Bill Elliott, moves up a slot.
From the middle of the corner, these guys are trying to get a good run up off. Stay in that bottom, stand in the throttle, straight to the wall. Get a good momentum up off that corner. Try to make up some ground.
3 or 4 wide. They came down the front straightaway that time.
They keep getting further and further. That little yellow line on the inside, the longer they run, the further they get over that line to the inside.
David Green sweeps to the outside, looking to move. Back there behind Presley and Ricky Craven, middle of your screen. In that all-day glow car. He's mired in traffic behind Jeff Burton and Terry Labonte, the 2 white cars. He's got to find somewhere to go. Jack Sprague right behind him, and Steve Grissom. They're all stacked up back there.
See Terry Labonte leading Burton with the damage to the front of the car. If you've got front-end damage like that, sometimes you can get in a pack and you can run really, really fast because that car is not, the aerodynamics are not determining how well you run. And then when you get by yourself, it doesn't want to go. So in a pack like that, he's able to make a lot of moves.
made a good move there, but now he's got to get around Martin Truex. In the 56 just ahead, there's Elliott way up on the outside trying to follow David Green down the straightaway. And Jeff Burton in the number 8 car this time drops in line.
You know, Burton's a past winner at this particular racetrack, so he knows his way around. I don't know if he has enough damage he can't get to the front, but he certainly knows his way around this racetrack.
3 wide? I don't think so.
And he also knows his way well enough that you cannot do that, so he did the smart thing. He pulled back out, let him get straightened up, and he'll make another run at him.
He didn't have any fender left up there to nudge him with.
Yeah, he's going to nudge him with rubber that time. And the next thing you hear is air coming out of him.
Truex got a good run down the straightaway. That's Blunt Seafood Chevy. Now Burton underneath. And past him. Tracy Leslie and David Green go at it. Just up ahead. And here comes Ricky Craven. Around the outside of Truex.
See, you know, Craven behind Burton, but Burton's really stretching his car with that damage is running good.
Boy, was that car hooked up at Milwaukee. A track very much like this one.
Flat track, and let me tell you, these crew chiefs and mechanics that work on these cars, they know, say, hey, we went to such and such a place, had the same degree of banking, and had this, had that, and they take it from track to track and take advantage of where they ran good.
Now Terry Labonte, the MW Windows Chevy, that's the white car left side of your screen, trying to get underneath the Budweiser Ford of Bill Elliott, the Hardy Boys car, the one at Watkins Glen. And Jack Sprague in the Staff America car, helping Labonte down in there and underneath in the corner, and Steve Grissom right with him. Tight pack.
Yeah, I'm telling you, they're getting to feel a lot more comfortable this racetrack, two abreast. Used to, automatically, you just went to the inside, you got single file, but now they don't mind racing side by side.
And plenty of room to do it here, Neil. This is a wide, wide racetrack.
And we also saw when you got a track, the facility's this wide, we saw the 5-car spin and back up in the wall. You got enough area, you can get the car slowed down sometimes and not do a whole lot of damage.
Now Steve Grissom, that blue channel lock car, getting underneath Labonte. Moves his Chevrolet up a notch. I'm told, though, that Grissom may have a pinhole leak in the oil pan on his car. Keep an eye on that. Don't know whether that's the oil tank or the dry sump pan under the crankshaft.
Just when you say that, Mike, you can see just a whisper of smoke as he went down in the third turn. Just the least little bit of smoke out the back of the car as he went in. I don't know if it'll show up in this turn or not. If they're talking about a pinhole, what you hope for in a case like this is a small enough leak that the exhaust system will actually burn the oil, what little bit's coming out of it, burn it off, and do away with it.
Steve Grissom by 47 points. He is the leader in this series. And the man on the right side of your screen, David Green, is the fella closest to catching him. Running 3 positions ahead of Grissom right now. Let's take you back up front to the leader, Joe Nemechek, where he's snoozing away from the field. When Vic Kangas made that motion of looking like it was a nap. Well, Joe, after last year's win here, wouldn't this be a good time to start a new winning streak?
This would be a great place. Hopefully we'll have a finish like we did last year. I think Dale wants a rematch, so maybe we can get out there and give him one.
Well, the best racing here is from 4th place on back. Mike Wallace and Jamie Obey are battling for 4th and 5th, and right behind them, Kelly Moore, Robert Presley. There's that knot of cars led by Mike Wallace. Jamie Obey's going to get right underneath them here. Mike's going to hold him down the straightaway. That's 4th place. Obey from North Ferrisburg, Vermont, former Busch North champ. He takes 4th. Now Wallace is 5th. The gold car of Mike McLaughlin right in there is 6th. Kelly Moore and Robert Presley have been trading everything but paint. There they are in the middle of your screen, 47 and 59. Presley tried the low side 4 times in a row. Now he's going up high.
Yeah, he tried him inside, and we've seen the Moore car be able to go in real deep on the outside of the corner. Presley took his part of the racetrack, was able to get by on the outside, or almost by anyway.
That's rookie Tim Fiedel just ahead in the Banana Boat car. And here comes Tracy Leslie, the Detroit Gasket Chevrolet. Oh, Leslie got it loose there with Kelly Moore. And they're going to get straight.
Maybe.
Jeff Burton really had to pedal it. Here comes Burton. He's looking for the outside. Get me out of here.
Yeah, he sees them getting tangled up a little bit. He's want to get on by him if he can. He's been able to come from the rear a little bit.
And Ricky Craven comes into the picture, Neil. He's popped back up into the top 10 here.
That's a good indication of the momentum it takes to keep these six-cylinders wound up around one of these racetracks. Just a little bit of stumble on either guy's part, and now a big pack of cars catches them or either goes by.
Well, that separated Moore and Presley. That one looked like it was going to come, could have come to blows any minute.
Yeah, they tried each other in every direction they could. Matter of fact, they got pretty aggressive at it.
Now Presley goes to the outside of Tim Fedewa. And Tracy Leslie's going to try to follow him right around. Jeff Burton moved up a notch and all that in the Baby Ruth Ford. This is 7th on back.
Keep seeing cars flirt with getting below the yellow line on that flat part of the surface there. Able to make it work.
Fourth place just changed hands as Craven goes to the inside. Now there's Kelly Moore up high in the Jordan Lumber Chevy. And Ricky Craven in the DuPont Chevy going past.
You know, Mike, it hasn't seemed to bother him a whole lot to get outside. He doesn't mind running the outside of this racetrack, and usually when you see a car get up on another one, it's just an automatic pass, but Kelly Moore likes that outside lane here.
Yeah, and most of New England, they call it the Ron Bouchard groove. He kind of wore it in for all the modified racers, Mr. Outside.
He's got some damage to his car that's probably affecting the performance. He's got a lot of sheet metal hanging off like a parachute on that rear. It's catching a lot of air. Really affects how the car runs.
And now Craven moved past Tim Fedewa.
Craven's working his way to the front. We saw him behind the Burton car earlier, able to stay right with him, and both of those cars are gradually getting their way up front.
5th place. Mike McLaughlin's going for it. He has won 4 Busch North races here, and he's been to victory lane in the modifieds, and he's just taken Mike Wallace on the inside and left room for Robert Presley there. That's the Coors Light car number 51 of McLaughlin, and he's driving away from Mike Wallace.
Yeah, when Presley got up under Wallace, it made them both have to run a little bit slower pattern through that corner. Now,
Tracy Leslie gets into Mike Wallace.
That's the case where you see the door open. It's quite not open enough, and you just kick it the rest of the way open. He saw the pass being made. He wanted to get out there, take advantage of that. But Mike Wallace pulled down, thinking there was no one there. That's kind of a deal where one guy trying to get in, the other guy didn't want him there.
And you talk about momentum, Neil. It cost him a spot, 2 spots. It cost him that one and one to Jeff Burton, who had a full head of steam coming into that corner and got underneath Tracy.
Luckily, when they got in that corner, even though they got the cars real squirrely, they didn't get out from under them. 47 car coming in. Excuse me, 41 car.
Yeah, that's Jamie Obey. Now, he's the 4th place car now, and Mike McLaughlin is pulling up on him, and here comes Robert Presley.
Now, once Presley got through that big pack we were talking about earlier, Mike, he's been picking them off one at a time, and he's not wasting any time about it.
Obey went high. McLaughlin came down low. Obey has a little more at the end of the straightaway, and now McLaughlin has Presley to deal with.
Boy, Presley didn't hesitate to jump outside and try it.
Tell you, McLaughlin is going to be an asset to this series.
Yeah, good driver.
If he gets the CC well of a ride, or if not that one, a different one, he, the former national modified champ, is really going to be an asset to this series.
So Jamie Obey really drive down in the corner. Presley looked like he was going to take that inside lane away from him. Obey just sailed her off in there and held him off.
As we watch this, that oil pan leak on Steve Grissom appears to have gotten a little bigger. They have black flagged him. Tough break for the point leader.
Boy, that hurts. And let me tell you, that's hard to fix. You know, you can take silicone or some kind of epoxy and fix that. But the problem, that hot oil in it, if it's below the oil level to where it's in there continuously, you can't get it to stick. If it's, you know, if above oil level, you can squirt it off some free clean oil or some kind of brake clean, and you can seal it instantly. But if it's below there, they got a problem.
One reason Obey's got that power at the end of the straightaway. The Busch North rules are a little different than Busch down south. They don't all run 6 cylinders. Some of them can run a limited V8. Jamie Obey's number 41 is one of those cars. He's got a V8 power plant as opposed to the V6s in many of these others.
that's kind of two-sided, Mike. You know, it's good to have that V8 for the power, but they have a tendency to eat tires up more than the six-cylinders. The six-cylinders almost have a built-in governor. You match her wide open, you go along. The V8, you feed it up off the corner and try not to chew the tires up. So in the long run, sometimes you see the six able to outrun that V8.
Here's one six that's doing the job, and that is Joe Nemechek. Only one other leader today, and that was Robert Presley. Bobby Dragon's car on the right of the screen. There's your leader. And let's go back and pick up second place.
While we're on the way to second, that was a 25 car, Hermie Sadler. He's got a quick car if he can get that lap back.
Now this is not only second but third. Tommy Houston and Joe Bessie in the AC Delco Auto Palace entry is the third place car. Long way back to that battle for fourth from here. But Bessie is slowly, very slowly been closing on Houston these last 15 or 20 laps.
I tell you what, he's got the body beat up on it pretty good, but he's coming up through there.
Tommy Houston heading for what looks like his 185th career top 10 finish in the Busch Series. Way more than anybody else.
I've been kind of looking out of the corner of my eye, see if these guys, you know, we saw earlier in the race some of the guys blister some tires. You know, the Bessie car here is on the Hoosier brand tires. I just wonder if some of the top guys might be backing it down a little bit, having a little trouble. Just have to see if that plays out. But even though that tire had blistered on earlier, they said it didn't slow down any, so it didn't seem to hurt him.
Here's fourth place on back. Jeff Burton tries Jamie Obey. Nothing there. McLaughlin, left side of your screen, is fourth. Robert Presley now fifth. Jamie Obey is sixth. Jeff Burton is seventh. Tracy Leslie is eighth. There they are. Ricky Craven and Mike Wallace. As Joe Nemechek leads, we're coming up on halfway here in New Hampshire. We'll be right back.
TNN's exclusive coverage of the New England Chevy Dealers 250 is brought to you by AC Delco. It's like buying time.
Welcome back to New Hampshire, where you won't see much of Joe Nemechek because he's out there leading, and we got some great racing to show you. Shauna Robinson comes into the pits after being slow down the back straightaway for attention from the Polaroid crew. Now, the battle for fourth has been a great one. Mike McLaughlin has been giving Robert Presley fits, holding him off for fourth place as they come out of turn two. Here's a quick look at your leader, Nemechek, well out front now, and there's the battle. Presley got right up and alongside McLaughlin at turn number two and then had to shut it down. Just ran out of racetrack. Might have got a little frustrated here. And right behind him, battle continues. Tracy Leslie, Jamie Obey, Jeff Burton, and Ricky Craven stack it up.
You know, they monitored Presley's radio, and these guys don't race against each other a lot. The 51 car, McLaughlin and Presley, he said, hey, this guy in this gold car is giving me fits. So, I mean, he's learning what kind of racer he's dealing with there. I cleaned it up just a little bit, what he said.
Thank you, Neil. This G-rated presentation is brought to you by...
You see Presley trying him on the inside. Something we need to mention, Mike, is on Grissom, they are reevaluating it. They did not black flag him. It's not enough smoke to be concerned. They're going to give him to the next caution to look at, as I said.
And Presley gets by down on the bottom side. Took the low lane away from McLaughlin, see if he can hold off Tracy Leslie. Modified racer and snowmobile enthusiast from Waterloo, New York. Mike Magic Shoes McLaughlin, they called him when he was running the dirt circuit in Norm Foster's potato wagon. 4 victories here in Busch North competition, and Harry and Mike Grici's number 51. Oh, now Tracy Leslie, he was chasing McLaughlin a second ago, and now he's got a bumper full of Jeff Burton.
Yeah, Burton might be beat up and banged up, but he just doesn't know it that much. He's still working his way to the front.
Jamie Obey, Ricky Craven still right there. Jeff's brother Ward Burton's had a horrible day. Went 20 laps down fixing the transmission, and he's now on pit road again.
When the day starts out like that, they usually don't get any better.
Dale Earnhardt didn't. He got into a brush with Hermie Sadler, broke a tie rod, went back out and retired to the garage area. Hut Strickland, thick engine, went to the garage. Chuck Bound into the wall, now behind it. Been a tough day for a lot of front runners. Dick McCabe, Brian Ross, Todd Bodine out of the race. Mike Stefanik, Nathan Butke, Stub Fast, and Chad Little. Here's your AC Delco mid-race recap, brought to you by AC Delco. It's like buying time. 2 leaders, 2 lead changes. Nemechek and Presley. They run about 125 around here. The average speed 89 miles an hour, slowed by the 7 caution flags for 30 laps. 10 cars out of the race, 44 started.
There's Tommy Houston right there. This car, you see the Big Six is listed as 61 because he had to add the 1 to it. The 6th car out qualifying, but I tell you, this is the best run Tommy Houston's had in a long time.
Last win came up at Hickory, I believe, for Tommy Houston in April '92. 40 race starts to go. Last race he led was Orange County this May. And there's Joe Bessie reeling him in. Looks like Bessie's turned up the heat because he has closed in the last 5 laps now to within 2 car lengths of Tommy Houston.
When I saw Houston up in 2nd, 3rd place earlier, I thought he might have just had a real good pit stop and got out. But, I mean, he's been running the kind of speeds to stay right there. The other guys haven't been able to run him down yet.
Updates on the tire battle. Nemechek, as he told you top of the show, is on Goodyears. Houston is on Goodyears. There's Joe Bessie, who is on the Hoosier tire.
Just saw the 44, David Green, went in the pits and just came out. Here's one losing an engine getting down the first turn. He got off the track real quick. The question is, did he put any oil down? The flagman's looking at him, and NASCAR's trying to decide if they're going to put out the caution.
That's Robbie Crouch out of Tampa, Florida, in the tic-tac-toe caution, and we're going to get yellow. 8th one of the day. Comes out at lap 129.
Boy, that's going to hurt David Green. There he was in the points battle. He just pitted and came back out, so he went a lap down. Now Grissom's going to take the opportunity right here. We see him in the blue 31 to get back around.
He just misses going a lap down.
He keeps going a lap down, plus he gets to look at that oil pan leak or whatever it is on the caution.
Well, they'll realign after this caution flag for Robbie Crouch and resort the field. We'll be right back. Where Neil Bonnet probably should have been about halfway through that race at Talladega, out here on Profile Lake in New Hampshire, landing a big one.
I tell you what, that's just my kind of deal in that lake.
No catfish in that pond.
Ooh.
Good fishing up here.
Yes, sir.
Steve Grissom made a pit stop. They had a look underneath it. The NASCAR Busch Series inspectors were on the scene looking under that car.
Nemechek's coming in. Coming down pit road, a lot of the lead cars. Comes a 6th car.
A lot of confusion going on down here in Nemechek's pits right now. He did not come in that time. Robert Presley, the rest of them did. Joe's coming in this lap. Joe thought, evidently, that pit road was still closed. He came by, went on by, and then they let the rest of the cars come in. So evidently, Joe didn't realize that pit road was open. So this is going to put him at the back of the pack. They've gone to the right side now, changing right side tires only. You can only change 2 per caution, filling it up with fuel. But this will put him way back in the field, probably one of the last cars in the lead lap. So he's got a long way to go back to the front.
Glenn, let me tell you what I think happened. And usually, even though he made not make a mistake, but didn't understand pit road was open, the 6th car was behind him. And usually your pit guys say, follow the leader. If he comes in, you come in. So, I mean, there's a big question. We see Vic Kangas there. He's really upset with the official about it. He's trying to understand what happened. Several of the lead cars did not come in that first lap. This is not over yet. I hope we don't have the mic down there where we can hear this.
No thanks. They're going to reline up for the restart. There is an official at the head end of pit road that holds up a flag whether or not that pit road is open. We're under caution. We'll be right back. When an incident happens on the racetrack and the yellow flag comes out, the flag in that man's right hand, it's a red flag with a yellow X, is waved at the head end of pit road, meaning pit road is closed. When they open the pit road, this green flag comes out. You see how far he stands from turn 4 out on the racetrack, and that apparently is the source of this controversy. Glenn?
Well, I'm standing by with Vic Kangas, the crew chief. And Vic, what happened down there?
Well, when he went by, both the spotter and Joe said when he went by the end of pit road, the red flag was out. NASCAR claims the green was out. So there's a miscue somewhere. We'll just try and go ahead and win this race with the Dentine car, and we'll go from there. Argue about it later.
Well, that's good strategy, and I think they've got the car to do it with. Randy?
Well, Brian Fraser here, the crew chief for Steve Grissom. You guys have been in and out. You've been talking to the NASCAR officials here. What's the story? We heard you had an oil leak. Is it? And where does it stand right now?
Yeah, we've got a small oil leak on the oil tank somewhere. And we believe it's up around the top, around the seal. So we're hoping as the level will come down a little bit, it'll quit leaking quite as bad. We keep swapping the rags out, trying to do everything we can to slow it down as much as we can, because there's no way we can really totally fix it.
As far as the other competitors, they're not complaining too much.
No, there are not many of them complaining too much. There's a few of them said something, and but we're just going to try to get out here and try to finish, and you know, maybe try to keep people right off our back bumper so they won't have the right to complain, and try to finish the race. Good luck. Thank you.
Now let's show you that flag man at the head end of pit road again, and if we can widen that shot, please. This is the view. Our camera position is right next to the spotter stand up on the roof. So even though Joe Nemechek might not have the best view of that flag man from inside the car, what you're seeing is just exactly what his spotter sees. They're only 5 feet from our camera position here, and they advised Nemechek as best they could of what the status was at the time.
Mike, I would wonder also, you know, the second and third place cars, the 6th car, Tommy Houston, he didn't come down pit road, so there might be a question of doubt whether they got the flag switched in time.
But I think it's just as you said, Neil. If you're in second or third spot, you're going to say follow the leader. If he pits, you pit.
That's exactly what they tell you when you're sitting in that driver's seat. But there's some more fishermen around here, and this guy's having better luck.
Did he buy a ticket? We'll be right back. We're getting ready to go back to green here at the New England Chevy Dealers 250 in Loudon, New Hampshire. And behind the brand new Chevy S10 Super Sport. It'll be in showroom soon. That's the Pace truck today. Here's the field lined up. That inside row are the cars in the lead lap, and they're set to go racing. Joe Nemechek way back in that field.
Yeah, this is an excellent opportunity for Robert Presley. He's on the inside front row to get that big jump. Nemechek seems to have the quickest car, but he's got his work cut out for him now.
Nemechek is back in 12th place, and Tommy Houston right behind him in 13th.
Mike, that 12th doesn't sound too bad, but that's 24 cars when they're two abreast, so he's got a lot of traffic to deal with.
Good point, Neil. Green flag, and Robert Presley will haul them off to turn one, and look who's right on his bumper. Ricky Craven is going to be a factor before this race is over. Larry Pearson is going to try to get a lap back on the outside from your race leader as they come off turn number 2. Craven looking low, trying not to let Presley get out of sight.
See, Craven sail that thing down in the corner. He's trying to get up under Pearson right. He wants a shot at that leader. He's been working up through there all day long. Look at the 8 car. Burton. Yep. With the damage, he's still coming. Hermie Sandler on the outside, another lap car.
Had a quick car, qualified well, got a lap down on lap 1 when he and Earnhardt won. Never able to get that lap back.
And track-wise, he's been in top 5. Position-wise all day if he hadn't had that problem.
That's right. Here's Joe Nemechek. He's gone to the outside lane in hopes of getting around some of this traffic. Moving up on Tom Peck. There's Mike McLaughlin, Mike Wallace in the 9 car.
That's what's so tough about it. Even though you've got a really good race car, you have to contend with this traffic, and that leader's just squirting away every lap. And then you got to deal with the factor that there could be an accident in a big pack like this. That's what really concerns the crew members.
Larry Pearson, Jack Sprague battling David Green.
As we mentioned, Green had just pitted prior to that caution, so it had to put him a lap down there at least.
And Mike Wallace and Mike McLaughlin no longer for 4th place, but they're still battling nose to tail like they were on the last restart.
Look at Nemechek. He's got a strong horse there, but he's got it hemmed up. He can't go like he wants to. He just boxed in right now.
He's got to keep it in one piece. He's lined up behind Bobby Dragon, who has not been one of the quicker cars today.
Boy, this is when a driver really got to use a lot of self-discipline. Just wait, and not get over anxious. And that's, you know, Joe's using his head right here, working his way through this pack.
Terry Labonte just ahead. Joe Betsy slips up there at the top of your screen. Drops 3 spots in a blink.
Looks like Betsy's car smoking a little bit. As it went down in that corner, I'm not sure he might just touch someone and smoke the tire.
Kelly Moore trying to get free of Bobby Dragon there. And we're about to have a battle for the lead. As good as this one is, Ricky Craven has caught Robert Presley.
Not only caught him, his car seems to have a little bit more right on the bottom of the track.
If Craven gets the lead, Everybody in the grandstand's got to click their ruby slippers together and start singing "There's No Place Like Home."
Yeah, right here. Couldn't find a better place to have a performance like this.
2 top 5s and 9 top 10 finishes for Craven this year. He's led one race, spent 67 laps out front at Hickory.
Presley's the kind of guy that when he's in the lead, if you get up there and put a lot of pressure on him, he'll dig down a little deeper and try to go. So, I mean, now Craven's got to step up the pace again. He's got Presley kind of spurred on up a little bit more, picked up the pace, and try to go after him.
Yeah, Presley is as tough to root out of the lead in this series as Earnhardt is in Winston Cup. Here's your Napa Field standing update brought to you by Napa, because there are no unimportant parts where they were just as of 3 laps ago.
When you mention that tenacity in a race car that Presley has, that's one reason he is really being talked about to go in a lot of good race cars in the Busch Series next year. I doubt seriously if he won't make that move. I feel like they've got a car down in the wall down here in turn 2.
That's Jeff Berry in the X1R Friction Eliminator Olds. Second trip for Berry. And this will bring out the caution. It's the 9th one of the day. It comes out at lap 145. A lot of damage to the left front and rear of the Norwich, Connecticut driver's Oldsmobile.
Just looking a little bit ahead, we see this damage here, but Nemechek was working his way up. He was 8th in line, and now when they double him up, he's got 16 cars again. So a lot of times the caution goes your way, but when you're trying to get back to the front like that, that's really going to hurt him. It's going to put a bunch of cars in front of him again.
And I don't think this time you'll see any of the leaders pit, Neil.
No, I think they're going to lay out there and do some racing to the end of this one.
Yeah, I'm sure all the spotters for these teams saw what happened to Nemechek and how he got back there pack racing, and I would think, and there's the green flag showing pit road open. Well, Mike, I would think wrong. That's why we sit up here.
Yeah, Mike, let me tell you, we're at lap 145, so they're borderline on being able to make it all. I think they will come in there and make sure they got enough fuel. Right now, it would be questionable if they could go the distance on fuel only. So I think you're going to see these guys top them off. Maybe not even put tires. I don't know. They'll probably take advantage of it, being put 2 tires since they limit you to 2 at a time. We'll go left with Presley. Yep, going to top it off.
Here's Glenn. We're back to Glenn in a moment. Left side for Joe Nemechek, Mike Wallace, Ricky Craven, Tracy Leslie, Tommy Houston, Steve Grissom. Almost everybody that was in that time took on left side tires.
Boy, look at here. 99 beat the 59 on pit job. On the pit work, they got out front. Preston says, I ain't sure you're out front. We'll have to go back. We'll slide back in a minute, take a look to see who beat who off pit road.
That's kind of up to the NASCAR official down at the south end of pit road. Whoever crosses that line first where he stands with the lollipop sign gets the spot. Now, even though Craven got a good stop, Presley was pitted right near the end of that row, so he may well have beaten Craven to that line. NASCAR scoring will sort that out for them. So under caution as they overlook from the hillside, we'll take this break from New Hampshire International Speedway.
Today's exclusive TNN coverage of the New England Chevy Dealers 250 is brought to you by Napa, because there are no unimportant parts.
Well, who beat who to the yellow line at the end of pit road? Ricky Craven or Robert Presley? Chip Warren's the official down there standing with a lollipop sign. Let's show you.
We see Presley make the move first. Here comes Craven with a head of steam up, and as they get to the line, it's Presley by about 6 inches. Even though this wasn't for first and second, I think they're third and fourth in line or whatever, but that's going to be a big factor. If the 99 could get at first, he'd make it a lot harder on Presley.
You're exactly right, Neil. Jack Sprague and the Staff America. Oldsmobile is the leader, rather Chevrolet. Jamie Obey from Vermont, holding up the honor of the Busch North troops, and his Budweiser Chevy is second, then Presley, then Craven, then Jeff Burton's Ford.
How many times, Mike, have we seen that end pit or being closer to the end be an edge? And that's one reason the champion and then the guys on down the line have that luxury of picking the pit, just to be able to get it rolling and be on out there.
Craven had the better stop. He left the pits first, but Presley was closer to where the line is. The defending champion picks his pit first, and then they pick in order of qualifying. We are back to green, and David Green in 44 is going to try to get a lap back from Jack Sprague, and that's not going to happen, not right here.
Sprague got a good start.
Trouble. Tom Peck.
Oh, me.
Slams up high into Reggie Ruggiero. Ruggiero gets in the air and up to the wall, and 5 cars are stacked up. Terry Labonte's one of them. He's already driven away.
Or one car could see which was so high there.
Look at Ricky Craven.
Yeah, and there's Hermie Sadler.
And they're going to run back to the line and hold it down. David Green does not get his lap back. Calamity in turn 1.
Well, I tell you, that car right there took a ride. He was up in the air. I think he actually came down into the wall.
Yep.
He went up with the nose real high in the air, then it nosed over. It looked like it almost landed and hit the wall at the same time.
That's Reggie Ruggiero from Forestville, Connecticut. The 45 is Greg Clark from New York State. Let's have another look.
See if we tell what happened here, Mike. Coming down in the corner. We see the 19 a peck on the inside.
Yep.
Looked like he got together. Was that Hermie Sadler?
No, it was Kelly Moore.
Okay,
Neil.
Kelly Moore, you're right.
And I think we may see it from this angle one more try, that Moore might have come down and thought he had cleared Tom Peck. It'll be the two black cars when we see it again. And there's everybody else piled in.
See if we can see a little bit more about here. We see him go in. They touch. The car's in third in line and the car's fourth in line. They get together right there. And here they go. Now watch the car on the right. He gets shot. See it go up in the air, a nose down, and just about the time he landed, he took a tremendous lick in the right front. And then he get to stack up here. And watch, I'm not sure. Oh, there's one car gets tapped and nowhere to go. Right in the horseshoe of this deal. Right in the center. Well, slowed down a good bit of speed, though, but nowhere to go.
Terry Labonte was in it and drove away. Reggie Ruggiero's car is still up there, and so is Greg Clark. Jamie Obey was involved. Here's another angle from turn 2.
Yeah, you could see the height. The car got up, 6 or 8 foot off the ground. Nose down and right in the wall.
There's Labonte. There's Ricky Craven in it. Hermie Sadler. And the last car in is Clark.
Yeah.
And Tom Peck as well.
Sadler and the 99 of Craven are wanting to leave. They're kind of hung up there. They have to back up and let one get away before they can clear the accident. This car here took a hard lick on that right front.
Reggie Ruggiero, one of the nation's absolute top NASCAR modified drivers, trying to make it here on the Busch North Series. Having a tough day. There's Ricky Craven's car on pit road. Here's Randy.
I'll tell you guys, I'm looking at the left front. Oh, he's got heavy damage, but I wouldn't be surprised if they can get this car fixed. I don't see anything that they're working as far as inside the frame or any of the working pieces on the left front. It's mostly cosmetic damage. I don't think it's going to be a big problem for Craven. If it is, it's a shame because he was really running good.
Well, hopefully the no suspension bend on that car is not towed out. They'll find that out when they get it back down on the ground. Not too aerodynamic, but we'll see if he can race it. We'll be right back. They're cleaning up at turn 2. Reggie Ruggiero did climb from his car and walk down to the infield where the ambulance picked him up for the mandatory ride to the care center, but he was okay and climbed out of that car under his own power. In building this racetrack, Bob Bear took a big gamble. As a man who's been around New England auto racing for almost as long as Bear, Ken Squire explains.
When Bob Bear decided to build his own super speedway, he did so without any guarantee that anyone would ever sanction a race there.
To me, this really didn't feel like a gamble. I thought we'd make it work one way or another, but everybody else thought it was a gamble, but in all honesty, it didn't bother me an awful lot.
He's a pretty cagey, street-smart guy, and was able to lash on to this facility and then make the improvements that he did here.
What makes this gamble even more amazing is that he spent over $20 million of his own dollars to build it.
No, there's no taxpayers' dollars. There's no state bonds. There's no nothing. We pay our taxes to the town, just like anybody else does. We pay for our police. We pay for our fire department. We pay for everything. We aren't looking for freebies.
I mean, frankly, I mean, he wouldn't ask for that. I don't think he'd really be in favor of getting the state to pick up the tab to build something like this, or the taxpayers or anybody. I mean, it was his gamble, and if he won, he was going to be the winner, and if he lost, he was going to be the loser.
Oh, I think probably one thing that helps me a lot on that is not being too smart. So I think that's helped as much as anything.
That's typical Bear, a man who thrives on risk. But ask his better half what his biggest gamble of all time was.
That's difficult. Well, biggest risk he's ever taken, I would say, is marrying me.
While sports franchises around the country threaten their cities with moving, looking for enhancements and new stadiums, while here in our own New England, the New England Patriots want the city of Hartford and state of Connecticut to build a multi-million-dollar facility so they can move from Foxborough, Mass. Bob Bear has done it all on his own and finally has reaped the rewards. In and he deserves it. Reggie Ruggiero and Ed Close will be hauling this battered car back to New York State. We'll bring it back and try again.
Mike, you talk about the Bear family. I think the big payoff, they've had all kind of support races, good following by the fans up here. And I remember the first Winston Cup race here, which was run this year. I've never saw the fans stand and give a standing ovation from the time the last driver to the pole guy was introduced. I think the fans appreciate what happened in this area to bring this type of racing in.
Well, he did it for them. He wanted to see Major League Racing in his native New England, and he's brought it here. You see cleanup continuing there at turn number 2, so while we're under caution, we'll take this pause and be right back. Jamie Obie's car being worked on, and it's starting to look like a modified race. The noses of some of these cars have been ripped and red of sheet metal.
Modified country, what do you expect?
Well,
I'll tell you what, there's some good modified racing up here.
we saw one of the best ever here last month. Brought it to you live on TNN. There are folks up here still shaking their heads. They couldn't believe that was the absolute best race of the weekend, but we thought it was by far. Ricky Craven's car looks like it has been to the shredder, and then at the last minute backed out of it just before it got to the front wheels. But crew reported to Randy Pemberton that the car was not bent in any way, and he should be able to race it.
You know, we've seen him before at Volusia County last year. He tore his car up just total the thing in practice, got the car just stuck back together, looked like a wrinkled up tin can. He got up there leading the race, had a chance to win it.
That's right, nearly did. Here's Randy.
What they're saying now is Ricky's complaining that the steering wheel is off by just maybe a quarter of a turn from where it was when it started the race. He doesn't really know right now as if, in fact, that's gonna mess up the handling of the race car. They seem to think it's gonna be all right, but he's just gonna have to. They're gonna have to drop the green, and he'll find out in a second.
That fender looks like the decals are holding it together. The big gainer on this one was Joe Nemechek. Glenn pointed out to us during the break, Jamie Obie, Tom Peck, and Ricky Craven were all on the lead lap ahead of him. There's Nemechek in the third place, behind Jack Sprague. As we get the restart green, Robert Presley is in second. Presley goes for it as Sprague either didn't come up to throttle or missed a shift, loses the lead.
But I tell you what, and that NASCAR's judgment call, you can't pass on the left until you get to the start-finish line. Presley,
trouble, turn 2, it's Sprague and Larry Pearson. And one car down to the apron and almost into the inside retaining wall. They're trying to idle back around to the caution here. I think that other car was Mike McLaughlin.
Boy, Sprague's car had a trouble from the restart and didn't get going. That's what I was talking about. Now, you know, you can't pass on the left, but they take in consideration when that guy either misses a gear, or look at McLaughlin here, got the left front torn off. They take in consideration had a problem, and then you can make that move to the left to clear a guy.
Now, talk about getting your nose banged up.
That's a nice souvenir if you can run out and pick it up.
Yeah, that's the horn. That piece right there.
The horn fell off.
It did. Beep. Looks like it fell off Jack Sprague's car.
Yeah, I would say that, or he's got an ugly car on the front to start with, because that front section is missing.
Let's have a look here.
There's him going there. Oh, that's on the inside the 40. Who's that in the
Kelly Moore.
Kelly Moore. Running real hard on the inside. Looked like they just barely got together. Pearson came up there and knocked the nose off of the 74.
Yep. And as he tried to go high, Mike McLaughlin tried to go low and got back into Kelly Moore.
Looked like Ward Burton and a couple other guys said, let's just park till this thing's over and we'll leave.
Yeah. Here's another look.
Looks the same. Down there, they tangle up a little bit in the bottom. They go up. Boy, Pearson got in there pretty hard.
Yeah.
Hit him with the right front against his left front, and that knocked the nose off that car.
Curtis Markham in the 7 car coming to a stop. Ward Burton. Jamie Obie getting by. And Wrecker hooking up to somebody. That's Tracy Leslie still in there.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Didn't even notice him in that wreck, but he climbed out of the car. He's okay.
Got in against that inside wall, it looks like.
Car's not. And there's Jack Sprague on pit road. Now, if you're into numerology, Presley's car number is 59. He first took the lead on lap 59 and just retook it on lap 159. So that means if this race was 259 laps, he'd win it.
Well, he could win it, just keep riding for a while.
Run 9 more laps just to complete the string.
I was wondering how you were going to finish that off.
I was too.
Look at all the brake ducts hanging off there. That's going to be a problem. Those little hoses, they'll have to get those out of the way.
Let's go down to Joe Nemechek's pit and Glenn Jarrett.
Well, I'm up top the toolbox here with Vic Kangas, and Vic, things didn't look so good a while ago. You were buried back in the pack, but with all these wrecks, Joe was able to miss them all, got him right back up front now.
Well, that's right. Joe come back. He's back up to third place, but, well, maybe second place. We've come into another problem, though. Now it appears that the rear end belt is off the rear end pump. So we need to see what's going to happen here. We may have to bring him in one more time, but we'll see what happens here.
Okay, he's wanting to talk to Joe right now. That would overheat the rear end, possibly cause some problems there, so they're going to take a look at it. We'll update you on it.
They run a pump attached to the rear end to cool that rear end grease, and it's driven by a pulley on the drive shaft. Now, to replace that belt, you'd have to take the drive shaft off, except
these guys, there's a drive shaft loop used for safety, where if it throws the drive shaft off, it will keep it under the car. They put an extra belt around that loop. Tie strap it around, and that drive shaft is actually running in that extra belt. And you're smiling because you already knew that, Mike. But anyway, they've got that belt. All they have to do is snip the tie strap, pull it over on the pulley, and they're ready to go racing again.
You know, Martha Nemechek was taking us on tour of their hauler this morning and showing us where everything was kept and all that. And the second car was sitting up there, and we just kind of looked up and, oh, yeah, here's this deal. And there it was.
And here comes Nemechek down pit road. They're going to take this opportunity to check and see. You know, you'd say, how can it burn the rear end up? You know, we don't have but 100 laps to go, but these rear ends are very small, and you pump that grease up into a rear end cooler, and you're circulating that grease, and it's got to stay in that chunk down there and keep it cool.
Larry Pearson back out. Second his best finish this year. He's been beaten, banged a little bit here and had some trouble. And there's Nemechek's car on pit lane.
I'm sure this lap, they're going to have to be concerned about losing a lap. They're probably just going to take a look this time. Now, there's the guy in front of there. He's doing just what we're talking about. He's snipping that belt off. He's going to have to roll the rear end, get it up on one pulley, and roll it up on the other pulley, and get that rear end pump back on there where they keep the rear end cool.
And that's all a matter of preparation in the shop, because if you didn't put the spare belt on there and have it wrapped up there where you could just slide it back and flip it up over.
But the way you learn is once you didn't put the belt on and you burn a rear end up.
Well, that's right. That's like Ward Burton in qualifying. They had that air gauge problem. The air gauge didn't read right. He went out on 2 soft tires. And Bob Newton, who builds the Hoosier tires that go on Burton's car, he says, we keep a calibrated master gauge on the truck, and we tell these guys, come over every day with your air gauges and check them and calibrate them against our master gauge. And he said, they never come. Bet some of them will now.
Mike, there's been lately, we've had a lot of trouble with tires going flat, and they found out with these higher pressures and with these radials and stuff that they're actually blowing the stem out of the valve stems. So they always tell you to put a cap on the valve stem like you do a passenger car. Nobody ever used them because it was so easy just to take a valve gauge, air pressure gauge, and read the pressure and not have to take the cap off. So now everybody's putting caps on. We have a lot less problem with the tires going flat. So it's just a trial and error. Come out with something new, find out what it takes to make it work.
Well, they're still working around in Nemechek's pits here. I didn't think that he got that other belt on, but they did not bring Joe back in. Vic went down to talk to NASCAR officials at this moment. I don't really know what that's about. Oh, okay, I see Mike now, the guy that was putting it on, telling him he got it just a little bit on. He didn't get it completely on the groove that it was supposed to slip into there, so they're just going to have to wait and see if the thing will stay on or not. You know, it's not really too awfully hot here, so as many laps as they've run now, that thing may not give them any problems if the rear end belt does slip off, but just a wait and see deal now. They don't have time to do anything else about it.
The concern they have there, Glenn, is that belt. If it's not on the pulley, it's sitting there just flopping around and around at high RPM. They can actually hang the pump and snatch the drive shaft out of the car, so that's something to think about.
We are back under green. Robert Presley hauls them into turn number 1, and yet again, Hermie Sadler is the man trying to get back on the lead lap. Tim Feeda was there. Mike Wallace is trying to move up from third. Tim Feeda is the second place car. What a story this would be, that number 55. Feeda is second. Here comes Steve Grissom right on the bottom underneath Mike Wallace. That takes third place away from Wallace.
You know, why am I shocked to see Grissom coming up here? He comes up on the inside. Qualify off the pace, race time, comes storming to the front. Really got his car going.
Yep, the Harry Gant playbook. David Green, Mike Wallace drop in on the bottom side. They work underneath the number 1 car, Rodney Combs. Just ahead of them in second place, Tim Feeda, and that's black and yellow 55, just ahead of this group. This battle is for third on back. David Green is not on the lead lap. The number 2-point man is 1 lap down. Mike Wallace, the 4th-place car. There's a look at Speedway, that black number 55. Troy Beebe didn't make the show, transferred his banana boat sponsorship over to Speedway, and he's carrying them up here into a top 5 run. 2nd place for now, but not if Grissom has anything to say about it in that blue channel lock Chevy.
Got up under him a little bit down in the corner. Here's where he gets up there. Just drive it a little bit deeper. Let him know you're in there. Take the position away. A little puff of smoke. You know, that, you know, was concerned earlier with this car, a little bit of oil leaking out of it. Saw that puff going in the corner. He's going to have to be careful and not run the car so hard that it smokes bad and that black flagging.
Mike Wallace, the FTP brakes, number 9. Right back of that group. Then you see Bobby Dotter on the inside. Joe Bessie and a bunch of banged up cars.
Yeah, there's Burton on the outside.
Kelly Moore, Tommy Houston, Joe Nemechek.
Kelly Moore's ran good all day. He's been in a couple instances, but I mean, he's always there digging, trying to get to the front.
Here's Ricky Craven on the outside of Jamie Obey. Jeff Burton on the outside of Joe Bessie.
Here comes Tommy Houston. We saw him up front earlier. Right up there in a good position, chance to win the race. He's trying to get back up there.
82 laps to go. A lot of racing left here in New Hampshire today, live on TNN. Nemechek behind Houston. Craven, he's coming. He's knocked the nose off the car. There's not much left of it, so he's coming up on the outside of Nemechek. Pulling hard.
Yeah, he's got to do a lot of his work outside. Like you said, Mike, if he touches that right front fender, that white number 8, he'll cut a tire down. So he's going to have to be careful coming through this traffic.
And Nemechek's car is not hooked up that well, or he's bound up in traffic.
Either he's concerned about that rear end, or he says, hey, look, you know, we might give another caution. I might give him one more chance to fix that thing before I burn it up. There's a good chance that if he runs that thing as hard as it goes the rest of this race, he will burn that ring of pinion up.
Jeff Burton on the outside of Joe Bessie this time as he comes down the front straightaway. Right behind Mike Wallace, the 4th-place car. Robert Presley leads it. Steve Grissom is 2nd. Tim Speedway, the rookie, is 3rd. And Mike Wallace is 4th. But Wallace now has the challenge with Tommy Houston on the inside and surrenders the 4th spot to Houston's 4th. Raven, Ken Burton, and Obey, and Nemechek all underneath Wallace in one corner.
Yep, and they've narrowed it down to 2. Thank goodness, because 2's a handful to get through that corner.
Nemechek way inside of Jamie Obey this time at 41. And Burton outside.
I'm thinking Nemechek is just really using his head here. He's behind a lot of traffic. The car's showing a lot of strength all day long. Just trying to take his time to get to the front. He's trying to make a run right there.
Underneath Craven.
Under Craven. So once he gets clear of that big mass of traffic, then he's going to try to pick them one at a time. The question is, how far out does the leaders get before you can get there?
Well, that patience made him a champion in this series in 1992. Took his opportunities where he found them. Here's Tim Speedway and Bobby Dotter. And we'll correct ourselves. We're told this is for position. The Dotter in the DeWalt Tools Chevy is on the lead lap. So we'll update that. Dotter and Speedway are fighting for position. And this would be 3rd place.
I tell you, some racers go through Dotter really gets that car of his hooked up, and when he gets it right, good driver, he can get it up front.
Curtis Markham just got way up high. This spot scraped the wall there a moment ago.
He's kind of questioning, is the car good enough now to go back hard running the car? He get up that high stuff. It takes a lap or so to get it back under you. Look, here's the 25 car. I don't know if he lost another lap in that incident a while ago. He's been one down all day long, but he's been digging all day to get it back. And he's pulling up on Presley.
We'll check on Hermie Sadler, see if he's if he's more than one lap down.
Because he's been trying all day to get it back, and this looks like one of his best opportunities. He's pulling up on 59. There we see Nemechek working that traffic, coming up on Joe Bessie. He's cleared 1 or 2 more cars since we went away. Saw a little puff of smoke out of the 97 bucket. Got a broken valve spring, so really puffed right in the center of the corner.
We've been seeing that from time to time today, Neil, but it has not seemed to slow him up or coat the windshield of the following driver. Bessie's had a good run. He's on the lead lap, just ahead of Nemechek. And scoring confirms that Hermie Sadler is just 1 lap down. Has been ever since lap 1. Oh, Bessie went for the ride. Got up in the marbles, hauls it back down, and 4 cars are going to get underneath him. And 1 outside, Jeff Burton.
Yeah, you need a tetanus shot to get beside Burton's car. You better be careful. He's got so many jagged edges on that thing.
Fell all the way back to behind Ricky Craven.
Got in that corner really hard. Got him at loose stuff, took a ride. You know, they should call the driver then and tell him what a nice job, because when you slide down around, you reckon hit the wall, they chew you out. And he had it as close as you could get up there without bouncing off that fence.
Well, saying he started that wreck, he just didn't finish it.
Yeah.
No, he did a nice job to hang on to, especially when you get up in the marbles like that.
Yeah, here he comes back on. You know, they said they didn't think Craven's car was hurt. I can't go with that. I know when he said earlier the steering wheel was a 1/4 inch off. That quarter turn, that tells me that the toe end's knocked out on the car, or either the rack and the steering there, the gear on that thing is twisted around a little bit. And you work with these race cars to center that steering up to have it drive just like you want to be. And something's off on that front end. He's not able to run the speeds he did earlier.
Jeff Burton gets underneath Jamie Obie and takes that spot away. This position, this not for position, Obie around Martin Truex. Let's show you again in real time what happened to Joe Bessie. It takes a lot of talent to react this fast.
He came in there, got a little tap. Goes up high. And that's all that marble stuff on the outside. You get in, it's like running over BBs or regular marbles, whatever you call that, and he did a good job of getting it down.
Held on to it. Bessie in 97 as they work around the last car of Truex from New Jersey. 178 laps complete. 72 to go. We'll be right back. Robert Presley leads the field here at New Hampshire International Speedway. Trying to notch a victory in the Chevy Dealers of New England 250. He and Joe Nemechek have had the strongest cars all day, but Nemechek's trying to battle back up through. He is fighting Tim Fedewa for 5th place here, and it's a fight.
Yeah, they got together a little bit off turn 4. They smacked side to side coming off that corner. Nemechek really used a lot of discipline himself coming through that traffic, and now he's got him strung out in single file. He's coming to the front. The question is, can the car make it for that rear end?
Fedewa in that race scan, Pro-Cal Ford. Up behind the Dentine Chevy of Nemechek. They're going to lap past Jack Sprague, who also led this race and got caught up in an incident which slowed the Staff America Chevy.
We see Nemechek going down the corner. That was Tommy Houston in front of him for 4th place, so he's coming up on Houston for 4th place.
Nemechek pretty much dominated this race, and then under a caution flag, the team's version is that the NASCAR official at the head end of pit road did not have the green flag pits are open sign up in time for Nemechek to see it and get on pit road. Then the flag changed.
What's nice is through the course of this race, that's kind of been erased out of the outcome. You know, he worked his way, got up there in the front, so that really didn't turn out to be a factor in the race. Now it's concerned is running the leader down with a little bit of mechanical problem he has.
That's right. Whether or not that did happen, it seems to have evened out now to where he is within striking distance of Robert Presley, Steve Grissom, Bobby Dotter, and Tommy Houston, the front 4.
Now there's Houston directly in front of the blue car.
There's our leader, Robert Presley. Hermie Sadler still trying to catch up on Presley. And back at 4th place, Tommy Houston continues to battle with Nemechek.
I think Nemechek's going to have to go outside. Houston's car works good on the inside. You know, there you see him way over. You see Tommy motion outside. He says, hey, if you want to go by, you can have that part out there. And he just went ahead and waved him by, which is a smart move because he can race him for 2 or 3 laps and use up a lot of the tires on his own car. So he just first gave him the pass, and now he's going to follow him.
Plus, if he waves Nemechek to the outside, Nemechek can pass him going into the corner where it doesn't much slow up either one of them, and they can stay out ahead of that next pack.
You can use your head and turn a 32-second lap or race the guy and turn a 36-second lap, racing him. The end result is you're still behind. That's right. The net result is you're still 4 seconds ahead of that guy. You didn't give up by being foolish and doing that. Why am I saying that? I never did it that way. I think it's soaked in after I watched some of this.
Maybe. So Nemechek comes up onto the leaderboard here in New Hampshire in 4th place.
And that was Donner, the yellow car. That's the next car on the ladder to the front for him.
There's the interval back from Bobby Donner to Joe Nemechek and Tommy Houston. That's right. It's hard to catch anybody running side by side, especially on a flat track like this. You're so busy looking at the guy you're next to that you're not moving up, but the guys behind are moving up on you.
And what's the payoff on this thing? Him making a move like that. Now, if he can stick along with Nemechek, then the yellow car, he can take the ride with Nemechek up and pass him. He's actually back in the same position on the racetrack, clearing another car.
Sure, you're coming down these straightaways here at good drafting speed. So if he can stay up with Nemechek, it looks like they're a little quicker in running down Donner, something Tommy Houston could not do on his own.
And what it also does is Nemechek has got enough car to open that door, to move Donner outside, and I guarantee you that 6 car right there, Tommy Houston, he says, if I can get there, when he opens it up, I'll go by with him. He's probably running as hard now, or harder laps, just trying to stay there and take advantage of Nemechek going to make the move on Donner.
Well, we haven't seen much of Bobby Donner all day because look at his car. It's scratch-free. That DeWalt Tool Chevy has had a really strong run here for the Chicago driver. And Nemechek is on him now.
Look, I thought he was just going to, when he caught him, just pass him on the outside. I wouldn't doubt to see Donner give him that same move that the 6 car did. Let him on by, let him on by and not race him real hard. If he does, if they mix it up here for just a minute, that 6 is going to be right in the middle of it again, and he can go by when the 87 does.
Donner comes way down, but he's going to look to hold the spot. Here, turn 3. No, he's not. Nemechek dives underneath. Now they're going to get together.
Yep.
Watch for the blue car coming up. That'll be Tommy Houston, and he likes the bottom side.
Oh, he's wanting to get over there on that inside and go with him. You know, that was a case where is it better to move over, let that car by, and then get back in line behind him? Now the 6 car is up under him also.
Tommy Houston made the right move by letting Nemechek go and then going with him. And they take Bobby Donner for 3rd and 4th position. Donner running his own race and fighting Nemechek hard for the spot. It just didn't turn out his way this time.
You know, it's harder to do the closer you are to the front, and that was 3rd place. And I guess he felt like, hey, I need to work, make these guys work to get around me, but sometimes you got to weigh it out. Have we ever seen this shot before? Joe's mother up there Charity Moan, Martha Nemechek. Where was her camera? She's always taking pictures. She didn't have her camera with her.
When we stopped to visit, she had 2 of them in her purse, and she said she brings 4 to the racetrack.
Yeah, and I tell you, she's like a gunslinger. She's got plenty of film in all her pockets.
Here's Joe coming off the corner now with 3rd place. He was the pole sitter. Fastest car in practice. The car worked when it rolled right off the truck. Mom and Dad and Brother John are all part of the team. He gets up front, you see that smile back.
I tell you what, we always talk about racing being a big family. It's nice to have a big family in a big family. See their whole family come to the racetracks, brothers, dad, mother, everybody involved with the racing team.
They're trying to make the move to Winston Cup next year if everything goes together.
I tell you, they've been doing a lot of work lately. They went to this race team right here, went to Watkins Glen with a road course car. The following week, they bring that car to Michigan along with the Busch car. Boy, look at the smoke trailing out of Grissom getting in that corner. Looks like the smoke had picked up a little bit, but I mean, they've been doing a lot of work lately doing that Busch car and the Winston Cup car. Let's watch him get out in this corner and just see, you know, the harder you run, the more apt it is to put out a little bit of puffs from Yevs. You know, if he starts picking the pace up here,
and he's going to have to.
Yeah, you either got to pick the pace up, try to win the race, pick the pace up, keep Nemechek back, or you might have to settle down and say, I got to back this thing down, because a whole lot of that, and they'll put you behind the pit wall.
Coming up on Curtis Markham. And that Skoll Pontiac, rather.
You know, he could, let me tell you, though, I think if he's putting oil down, we would hurt it by now from officials. If you've got a certain type of leak, it may just coming out of valve cover, and that drip of oil hits the header, then it burns it up and it's gone. Right. He might have something that's self-cleaning on the track and not putting a lot of oil down.
Battle for 8th spot here. Joe Bessie inside of Tim Fedowa. Good hard-nosed, hard-knock racing right here.
Inside, onside, and against the side. It's always nice to be on the inside. There's a cushion out there.
8 wheels corner better than 4.
Yeah, but you just turn it 2 of them.
Yeah, that's right.
The old bank shot ain't bad at times.
Great run for Tim Speedway today, however it turns out.
Yeah, we saw Bessie earlier right up there. I think it's 3rd place. Really had a good run going. Still got a good run going.
Joe Nemechek has caught Steve Grissom. Heading for turn 3. A couple of car lengths for Tommy Houston. Houston's not going to be able to take the bottom shot and follow him through. But Nemechek makes the pass on Grissom. You heard Grissom's crew tell Randy and Glenn that, you know, they were going to try to not run right in front of people, just try to finish the race, get as many points as they can, preserve their point lead, but, you know, not to oil down anybody's windshield or do anything that would cause NASCAR to have to bring them in.
And it was pretty easy to see right there. He didn't even contest that pass. He just let him by. And I tell you who's getting dividends to the way the 87 car's coming. The 6 car is right behind him. You know, he's coming up through there with him. I keep saying 6. He's got 6 on the car. He changed it to 61, but
yeah, Mike Stefanik, the Busch North number 6, out-qualified him, so he got to keep his number.
But he's coming on up through there with him, and I wouldn't doubt to see Grissom be willing to give that position up. Then he's got open track behind him, and he won't be complaining, hey, I'm putting oil down.
Grissom and Houston now for 3rd. Just in case you were wondering, here's Robert Presley in the Alliance Training Center Chevrolet. It's the last car in that pack right there, moving around. I think that's Tom Peck. Down to the inside, it is in the Delco Remy Chevrolet. And the interval back to 2nd spot from Robert Presley is about a commercial break. 10.3 seconds.
You're just being polite saying he's stinking this race up by pulling out so fast.
No, Steve Grissom's the one leaking oil, stinking the race up. But yeah, he's doing exactly what Joe Nemechek tried to do to the field early. Man, here with a lot of talent and a strong crew. Ricky Pearson and team have put a good car under Robert Presley, and he is making the most of it right now. We're back at New Hampshire International Speedway watching Robert Presley drive away from the field. I'm Mike Joy with Neil Bonnet, Randy Pembert, and Glenn Jarrett on pit road today as Bill Elliott makes a stop under green to take on right side tires with 45 laps to go. Robert Presley. We've seen some fellas today that can chase down a car and have a good run catching them. But a fellow like this who loves to run out front and can keep his mind on where his race car's headed and where everybody is right behind him and keep them there, Neil, that's kind of special talent.
Yeah. When you get out there, usually some drivers can gauge off another car, how deep to run in the corner, what to do here or there. But when you got a guy like Presley that can crank out you lap after lap within a 1/10 of the time, getting the job done. I tell you what, you know, it's going to take something like a caution flag to really get the 87 right back in it. But for some reason, I feel like it would be out of the question for us to have another caution. As many as we've had during the day before this over 40-something laps to go.
I think you're right.
Change the whole complexion of this race again.
There were 12 caution flags in this race last year. Today already we've had 11. There's Presley.
Gave him a little set of ruts down there, Doug. It's like he's on a rail lap after lap right around this bottom.
Coming up on Larry Pearson. Let's take a look. Let's take a long look back for the 2nd place car.
Okay, there he is, entering the 3rd turn, right in the middle of the 3rd turn. Some lap cars, there's Sprague. It's hard to see which one here.
Nemechek, right there.
Right there.
And Tommy Houston.
I got it with a sand clock, one of those sand grains, about 8 grains. Good way back.
Well, and a lot of that is not so much because Presley was that quick, but because these cars had to work their way through traffic and battle all the way up through, and it allowed Presley to gain a lot of separation on the rest of the field. Yes, Presley is running that well, but these cars might have even run a little harder trying to break free of traffic and be in a position to chase him down. 42 laps to go. Robert Presley has 2 victories this season, 7 top 5 finishes, 10 top 10. He's led 7 races.
Mike, I'll tell you what's tough on a leader like this coming up on traffic. The guys in front of him, their pit crews, because the leader's coming up fixing to lap you. Well, you might have a car that's not handling as well as you want it to, but you still have to run harder than you run all day, hoping that you can stay in front of the guy till the caution comes out. And a lot of times, the guy that's trying to do that will be the one that makes the mistake directly in front of the leader by overdriving his car, trying to stay away from the leader and not go a lap down. There's a case where Presley just got down off the racetrack, so let me go on by this guy on the surface apron.
That's Jamie Obie. And again, it's a case of a fella you don't run against all that often. Now he's coming up on the other guy, Mike McLaughlin, who's a Busch North competitor that Robert's not used to running against, and so not really quite that sure what that car might do in a given situation. Wants to give it plenty of room. And plus, when you see that sheet metal all crinkled up like that, you might give him just a little extra room because you don't know why or what happened, but you know something did.
Yeah, he's coming up Mike McLaughlin, and he made the call from inside the car that McLaughlin was really getting around this racetrack. Hard guy to pass, and he's coming up on the lap. But now here's the California. When we talk about good race car drivers, not only do you talk about they've got the ability to go fast, they use their head. There he was. He saw the leader coming. He pulled over, let him by. Here he goes with him. So, I mean, he respects the leader.
Oh, and Jamie Obie didn't give him much respect in return.
Nope, I'm telling you that Obie and McLaughlin have been racing 59 car.
Caution, Jeff Burton is in the wall in the front straightaway hard. Spun it around and really cranked the right side into the wall. And as that happened, McLaughlin, what happened there, had checked up coming out of turn number 4 for Burton's spin and crash, and Obie just got into the back and wasn't intentional. It was McLaughlin trying to figure out where he'd have to go and why. We're under caution. We're going to go down to the other Burton brother who's had an even worse day than this. Randy?
Well, I'll just tell you, your brother just got in the wall. He's away now. Ward, your day hasn't been too good either. What's the story?
No, it really hadn't, Randy. Well, it's just one of them things. You know, my guys are working just as hard as they can. We had, to start the weekend off, we had an air gauge that was 6 pounds off, so we were running air pressure way too low, and that hurt us qualifying. Found that. Then it wouldn't go in 3rd and 4th gear, and that was a problem. Now I think the battery's chucked out, so maybe we can get all this behind us and start getting back up front. We got great guys here in the Hardy's team. We got a super sponsor. Knock will always be Peachy King, but we'll get it back going.
Mike, you think he's got trouble? Wait till he sees his ears turn red during this race.
Well, Robert Presley's going to come to the pits, and so will Joe Nemechek, but many of the rest of the leaders are staying on the racetrack. Glenn?
Well, Robert Presley got here a good bit before Joe Nemechek. They're both going to change right side tires, filling up with fuel. Fuel was not a factor. They both said they could have made it without this stop, but they got to take advantage of it. Presley's car is now getting ready to get down. He's away. He's going to beat Nemechek, but the car stalled. Now he's got to crank back up. He barely beat Steve Grissom out. In fact, Grissom passes him on by. Nemechek's still waiting. They're having a little trouble with the right rear. They've got a guy up underneath it still working on that strap for that rear end pump. So they're still trying to make sure that that rear end does not get too hot. In fact, there's a little smoke coming from back there right now. So that's what the holdup on Nemechek is.
Well, there are 9 cars still on the lead lap, Glenn, so he'll be at the tail end of that line at least when they come back. They are hooking up to the back of Jeff Burton's car. The brothers have not had a good day today. We'll be right back. Jeff Burton's car will go home in this shape on the hook. From our start-finish stand mounted camera, let's show you. Look way to the left side of the screen, and you'll see Burton's white car come into view.
Looks like he's
and then hard to the inside wall.
Got some noise. I had to listen. It looked like he really got in the throttle and just got out from under him a little bit and bounced it off the wall, and then it was a ricochet back and forth.
Glenn?
Well, Mike, once again, they go to the right side of Nemechek's car to jack it up. They've got a jack stand under it. NASCAR officials staying in to make sure they do that. They're still working on that rear end. They've got an air wrench of some kind up under there working on that strap on the rear end. Joe is awfully impatient sitting in the car, but there's nothing he can do but sit there and wait. They're just trying to ensure that they can keep that rear end cool enough for him to finish the race. He's already proven he's got the car to come back up there, but they've got to make sure that car stays under him.
Man, just another day in paradise for Joe Nemechek. Had it all going his way. Had the pole, had the lead for all but about 10 of the first 150 laps. Then got caught toward the back and then came up along and had this problem with the rear end cooler. He has led this race twice today for a total of 123 laps so far.
And now he's going to get an opportunity to come from the rear to the front again. But I don't think he's going to have the luxury he had earlier to kind of pace himself and use his head. He's going to have to run hard when this restart goes.
You know, NASCAR being in the entertainment business, it's a shame that they don't give putting on the show points. Because Joe would have a bunch today.
He's got a lot of traffic to deal with.
And as you say, even if he's 8th or 9th in line, that's still 18th on the racetrack, on track position.
And a lot of times people question and say, well, why would a guy lap down race so hard? He's racing another guy a lap down.
Sure.
There's 8 guys on the one lane. It's a lap down. There's 8 on the outside. It's in the lead lap, and they're all racing. And the problem is they're all using the same piece of asphalt, and you can't fault them for racing for positions.
Plus, if you're just ahead of the leader and the guy you're racing is just behind him and the caution comes out, you gain almost a full lap on that car you were racing by being able to come all the way around.
Yeah, and you don't have to deal with him the rest of the day.
You've got to run him hard. Defending Busch Grand National champion, looking for his first win of the year, Joe Nemechek. Will he get it? Well, we'll find out when we get back to green. There's Jeff Burton's marks on the wall. We'll be back. Flag is just waved with 33 laps to go. They stack up down in turn number 1. Tommy Houston is out front. Robert Presley in second. Steve Grissom, Bobby Dotter. Dotter under Grissom, back straight away. Nope, Ricky Craven comes up the outside. Craven alongside Dotter.
Presley's in the third row right there. He's the 4th car back. He's the one wanting to get up there and battle for that lead, but he's having to deal with that lap traffic. That's Hermie Sadler right there. Looks like Sadler moved over, gave him that inside line so he can get up there and race with the leader.
And though Craven's 99 is up on the outside, he has lost a lap. So he's battling Larry Pearson for position.
Okay, we see Presley now. He got down to the inside around one of those lap cars. That's going to put him right on the back bumper of this 61 car. Boy, look at Green. He drove on by the guy leading the race.
Yep, David Green back on the lead lap.
There's Presley. He's going to think about that 3 wide. Not only think about it, here goes Presley and Grissom is going to take that inside lane away.
And they squeeze down into the corner. Dotter gets inside.
I don't think Houston put tires on. They made a call there. I don't think they had anything to lose there. They didn't have enough car to just take the lead. They thought that not stopping might keep them up front.
Well, and I think, too, that, again, it's heads-up driving on Presley's part. He knew he could get Tommy Houston. He had power on Tommy Houston, and he picked his timing and made the right pass. Grissom now is locked onto the back bumper of Robert Presley. 8th lead change of the day, putting Presley out front.
Guy's got his work cut out for him. You see the red car down the inside, just behind this pack here. That's Nemechek working that inside line. And see how he has to be careful with those lap cars, pinching him off on the bottom. See him in this lap of track. He's right behind the 99 now. There's Green still. He's out in front of the leaders.
Well, that'll put him the 10th car on the lead lap. Check that 9th car.
Dotter showing in 3rd place, and there he is going up under. Car on the inside, the yellow car showing in 3rd position. Had a good run today.
Moving up on Hermie Sadler, who is still just 1 lap down. And Larry Pearson is coming right up on Hermie Sadler. That is for 10th position. Pearson in the 92, the Stanley Tools car. Sadler in the Virginia's for Lovers Chevy, number 25, right there. That's for 10th spot. Bobby Dotter in the 3rd place car right in the middle of them. And Nemechek now on the outside. He has passed Tommy Houston, and Nemechek has rolled up into 4th place in that number 87 Dentine Chevy.
Well, look what he's got to deal with right in front of there. There's 3 cars. They were just 3 abreast. Now they're 2 side by side. If they get in single file, that gives him an option of what to do. Right now, he's got a lot of work ahead of him. Just get past this group.
Yeah, he's got to get past the 10th place battle and the 3rd place car all at the same time if he's going to get back to the front and challenge Robert Presley. He's outside Larry Pearson right now, back straightaway. Nemechek carrying a lot of power down that straightaway.
Got a lot of motor. I'll tell you what, Grissom's car doesn't seem to be smoking at all up there. You know, we see Nemechek right here. Here's Dotter getting under the 25 car of Hermie Sadler. I guarantee you, Nemechek doesn't care who passes. He just wants one of them to get by. Right. So it gives him like, a little bit of puff out of Grissom by the time I said it. So I enter that corner, a little puff come out the back.
I'm kind of glad to see that, Neil, because if there wasn't a puff, that could be good, and again, it could be bad. There might not be anything left to puff.
And they run out of oil eventually. These things carry about 20 quarts of oil, so they can smoke for a long time. Yeah, he just got her. There's Nemechek getting around Dotter. That moved him up into third place.
Good run for Bobby Dotter today. I tell you, he's run hard. He's in fourth ahead of Tommy Houston. And there's your leaders. David Green on the tail end of the lead lap. Presley and Grissom.
Yeah, I thought that Presley would just jump around Green and get out there, give him a little bit of a cushion. But I tell you, Grissom staying right with him.
But I'm sure he's got people on the radio to let him know how fast Nemechek is coming and right where he is all the time. 23 laps to go.
But you got to be careful of a situation like this. You know you're getting down short on time. Is not overdrive, not kill the tires, not burn everything down. But he just doesn't have much choice other than go as hard as he can with a short amount of time left.
Now, David Green, we set back at the lead lap. That's incorrect. He is now just 1 lap down. He had fallen 2 laps behind. So David Green is now 1 lap in distance behind race leader Robert Presley.
He doesn't seem to be holding Presley up. I think if he was holding him up, you'll see NASCAR get real aggressive with that move-over flag. But it seems as though Green is running as fast a lap as Presley, so it's not holding back any at all.
And the two of them are running away from this guy, Steve Grissom, in 31. You see, they've opened up some margin on the blue car of Grissom.
Yeah, but look behind the blue car. There's Hermie Sadler and there's Nemechek. He closed up a lot in the last lap.
I think if you see Nemechek come around Hermie Sadler, Presley will pick it up if he can. He right now is likely conserving a lot of race car right now, trying to burn off some laps off the board. There's 21 to go.
And that thing of Grissom's, the harder you run it, the more it smokes. So they might be weighing that out again. You still got over 20 laps to go, and you can't flirt with getting that black flag.
Grissom's Channel Lock Chevy is the second-place car. And here's Mike McLaughlin and Kelly Moore, two of the Busch North point leaders, going at it. McLaughlin has a good shot at this championship here in the North Series this year. Kelly Moore, a bunch of them right up there. They're running for their own points in this event as well as overall Busch points. Nemechek is now right on Hermie Sadler.
Yeah, now here's the situation where he can't wait. He can't follow in very many laps. If he doesn't give him the road, he's going to have to take it. He can't follow him very well. I think, okay, there's Hermie. He pulled over. He gave him that outside lane. He made a quick move inside. He gave him a position. That's nice to see someone do that.
Yep.
I don't think it's going to take that long for Nemechek to really get up there and do the battle of Grissom. The question is, what can he do if he can catch that 59 car?
Right. Richard Lassiter moved over, and here's Ricky Craven still battling Larry Pearson for 10th spot. Martin Truex is in amongst them, number 56. Now, you won't see Grissom move over as easily because this is for money. Grissom is the second-place car, and Nemechek now third. Craven just can't quite get to Larry Pearson to fight for that 10th spot.
We're going to find out in a hurry here what Grissom's going to do because Nemechek has caught him right now. I think Joe will take one look to the inside. If he doesn't give it to him, he's going to have to put it outside of him. And Joe's been able to make that pass several times. Oh, 31 slid up right here. Well, 31 slipped up off the corner. I don't know if he wanted to give him that inside, but he's going to be able to take it. He broke loose a little bit, slid a little high, getting in the corner.
17 laps to go, and Nemechek takes it deep down there to right field and moves up into second spot. Jack Sprague, who led earlier, moving aside. And now the race is in the hands of Robert Presley.
Yeah, Presley might have to contend with that 44 car. He's going to have to pick it up and go on around him if he can.
We'll be back to bring you the finish as Joe Nemechek tries to run down Robert Presley to repeat here in New Hampshire. Welcome back to New Hampshire. 12 laps to go. Joe Nemechek has dispensed with traffic. Now, David Green is a lap down, but he is not holding up Robert Presley. He's maintained distance on Presley. So it is now Presley and Nemechek, Steve Grissom, Bobby Dotter, Tommy Houston, and Tim Fedowa are the cars on the lead lap. One lap down, Hermie Sadler, Larry Pearson, Ricky Craven, Jamie Obey, and at the tail end of that lap, David Green. And That's your top 10 as we run this thing down.
You know, people might question, why did they keep stopping about that rear end pump? Glenn told us from the pits he was there when they put that belt on. They did get the belt corrected on 87, but they said the rear end grease was just about to burn up. It was burning so bad. So, you know, they had to make that call. It looks like they might be able to overcome that. Irregardless, they had to do it.
That's it. Last year, this race, it was a red car and a black car. Dale Earnhardt. They battled side by side the last 8 laps to the finish. You saw it at the top of our show today, and it looks like this will be a repeat. But for Robert Presley being that black car, is going to try to hold off Joe Nemechek over these last 10 laps.
This is one of these things, the way it's playing out, I feel like he's going to get up there and catch him, but then catching him and passing him might be another thing. Presley's a tough guy to get around, but it looks like he might be able to get to him.
Presley has 2 wins this year. The last one coming at Nazareth in May. Nemechek has not won since this race 1 year ago.
Mike, it looks like Nemechek can make up ground through 1 and 2. Make up sometime, and then what he makes up, it looks like Presley's a little better in 3 and 4. So he's going to have to make up his time on the other end of the racetrack, it looks like, down in 1 and 2. Boy, this lap traffic doesn't help. When you get down to the last few laps like this, see Presley get the clean line through the corner, and Nemechek having to go around 2 lap cars. Boy, it hurts you at a time like this. Just the tick of the clock makes him really get away from him. 2.8. Let's see what he can whip that on down.
It's a lot of distance with 8 laps to go. There's Tommy Houston. Saw there briefly, 5th place car.
Well, guys, I asked Ricky Pearson, Presley's crew chief, if he thought that Robert could hold him off. He said, you know, I don't know. He said, but we put on scuff tires on the last stop. He said, scuff tires run quicker for us the longer we run. So he said, we got that much going for us. I really think that Joe might catch him. I don't think he's got enough to get by him at this stage in the race.
Thanks, Glenn. Tough break for J.B. Obey. You saw him come down the pit road with the hood up. He was the 10th place car. Presley hanging it out there off turn 2. He's got Nemechek in his mirror now, and of course the spotters are calling the intervals to both cars every lap. Is it closing? Is it gaining? Where is he catching you? Where are you beating him? 7 laps. Now 6 to go.
That's a pretty good chunk of it. 0.9 seconds is all that's left.
And it all seems to come right here, as you said, Neil, down in 1 and 2.
See how close he is to him right here? Presley seems to beat him. You see him right in the shot here. But it seems like Presley gets right up off the corner. Nemechek's car is getting in good, but Presley's strong is 3 and 4.
3rd place is also a good race. Steve Grissom and Bobby Dotter going to fight for 3rd right down to the flag. 5 laps from now. Oh, a big handful of wheel for Grissom. You saw it there twice. Lost it, caught it, lost it, and caught it all in one corner.
Let me tell you, if you wonder if aerodynamics enter into this type of racing, he did not touch him. He got up under him and got the air off the spoiler and loosened him up and was able to drive right back by.
3rd and 4th place right there. And now Grissom's got his hand in the air there as he had to save it again. Driving what's left of that race car, trying to beat Bobby Dotter.
I would say he's pretty well used his tires up for him to have that much handful of race car now. Hey, that was a perfect pass. So, I mean, you can pull up behind someone when they're in a little bit of a bind like that and do the same damage by getting close and loosening them up as touching. I mean, he did it. He drove right up under him, loosened Grissom up, and drove out.
Meanwhile, Robert Presley has extended his margin as he went around Ward Burton, who's back out on the racetrack to pick up points, and now Jack Sprague. Presley has now caught David Green, and will get 3 to go this time.
It's kind of been a trade-out. A while ago, Presley caught a car, and just a lap before this, Nemechek caught a car. And as you catch those black cars, it costs you valuable time.
They are not giving the move over flag to David Green. He's demonstrated he is the equal of Presley and is not holding up the race leader. So NASCAR has not motioned him out of the way, which in fact, you move a guy out of the way at this point, it could cause a problem for one car or the other. So they'll fight it out just like this for 2.5 more laps.
We see Nemechek really get in the corner good, close it up a little bit. Presley's car is really accelerating up off the corner. Now Nemechek really driving it down in the corner. Forget about the tires, forget about anything else, the rear and whatever. You got to mash the gas and go as hard as you can. Robert
Presley looking for his 3rd win of the season. Joe Nemechek trying to break a one-year losing jinx. Rolled the car right off the truck, and it flew to the pole, and he led a good portion of this race, half of it white flag, last lap. This is where Nemechek gained his ground, here in 1 and 2.
Presley's just got so much of a cushion that he can work with there. He can give him up, 2 car lengths in each corner and still have it.
2 drivers with a lot of talent. Only one of them can go to victory lane. Robert Presley, the man who loves to run out front. Once he gets there, he is hard to shake out of that lead. Proves it again today as he wins the New England Chevy Dealers 250. Presley the winner. For second. And for third, Bobby Donner holds off Steve Grissom and Tommy Houston, the 5th place finisher. Ricky Pearson and his crew celebrate as the Alliance Training Center Chevrolet prevails today. 10th career win for Robert Presley, 3rd of the season. And he will move up from 205 points behind leader Steve Grissom and gain a lot of ground on David Green today. We'll be right back to New Hampshire International Speedway after this. Presley led 103 of 250 laps today, and most importantly, he led the last one. Let's go to victory lane. Glenn Jarrett.
Well, a very happy Robert Presley, and who wouldn't be? Robert, you had a pretty good lead there, but Joe was coming on at the end. Were you worried that he might catch you?
No, Ricky kept me informed. If Joe would run a 20 or a 30, we'd run one. So we're just trying to keep him there. He was about the only one that could run with us on a short run. After we got going there, car got a little better there at the end. We slowed down to about a 40, and Joe, he was falling off a little bit. Can't say enough about Ben Barnes. I tell you, this is a horsepower racetrack, and it'll lay you back in the seat in this old car.
Well, in order to use that horsepower, that car's got to get through those corners pretty good, and it looked like it did an awfully good job of that.
Yeah, the car was great through the corners. What made it up so good is could get off the corner real good and then just roll out of the throttle and just let it coast through there.
All right. This racetrack is a place that you have really liked. You like to run here. It's been awfully tough on you. You did have a second last year, but you got to feel like that it kind of owed you one, and you finally got it today.
Well, it didn't owe us one. This is the first time we've ever run this good here. We lucked in the second last year and could have won the race, but today it's Alliance Tractor Training Chevrolet just run great all day.
You told me earlier on this week or yesterday after qualifying you didn't get the pole, but you knew you had an awfully good car. Just a matter of being patient, staying out of trouble. A lot of trouble in front of you today and around you, but you were able to miss it all.
Yeah, it was. Joe went out and qualified first yesterday, and we was both running about 31.30s, and he went in the corner too hard, and he ran a 50, and I went in there trying to beat him, and I ran a 60. So, we're just trying to compete against each other yesterday and cost us both. He got the pole, but third wasn't bad.
Well, congratulations on a great job. Now let's go to Randy.
Well, Joe Nemechek's trying to smile right here. He knew he had a good race car today, but second's not bad, Joe.
No, it's not. I got to congratulate Robert. He did what he needed to do. I think the Dentine Synthai Chevrolet is coming out of the hole. We had a pole here. We've been having terrible luck, and we got a little bit of it today. We had a rear end pump belt come off, and the rear end overheated, so we had to pit those extra times to get another belt back on it. But we had the car, and we just didn't have enough time.
What about running Presley down at the end? Obviously, you started to make some ground on him, and then right towards the end, it didn't look like you could get him.
Yeah, the last set of rights they put on had a push in it, and I couldn't get turned in the middle of the corner like all my other tires were doing. So I could make it up getting in, but we were about the same coming off. And I'd make up just a couple hundredths a lap, and I'd gain up just a little bit, and we just didn't have enough time. If we could have had another pit stop in there, made one more adjustment, we may have got them.
Well, Bristol next week.
Definitely. We're looking forward to going. Hopefully that monkey's off, and we're ready to go.
Joe Nemechek, great run today. Started on the pole and almost repeated as the winner here at Loudon, New Hampshire. We'll be back with more. Here's a look at your top 5, top 10. We'll have more results for you when we come back. Robert Presley has won it here at New Hampshire, beating last year's winner and today's pole sitter, Joe Nemechek. Bobby Daughter had a great run for third. Steve Grissom hung on to an ailing car for fourth. Tommy Houston, strong drive for fifth. Rookie Tim Fedowa put some points on the board with sixth. But his nemesis in the rookie chase, Hermie Sadler, was 7th, and Ricky Craven was 8th. David Green, 9th, and Larry Pearson, 10th. 11th was Rodney Combs, 12th, Kelly Moore, Martin Truex, 13th, Andy Santerre, the Busch North rookie leader, 14th, Bill Elliott, 15th today. 16th with Curtis Markham, 17th, Jamie Obey, 18th, Bobby Dragon, then Tom Peck, Jack Sprague, and Mike McLaughlin. Let's go back down to the garage, and the point leader with Randy.
Well, Steve Grissom accepting some congratulations. Boy, what a day for you as well.
Well, I tell you, you know, it's just one of those days nobody gave up. We just kept digging. We had a little problem there with some smoke, and, you know, the guys, they kept trying to do everything they could to get it stopped. But, you know, what the heck, we wound up with a top 5 finish, come from 34th. So it wasn't a win, but it's not that bad a day either.
Was it hard out there for you physically? You said the car really wasn't right.
Well, it wasn't, you know, that big a deal physically. It's probably more mentally than physically, trying to stay out of trouble and stuff like that. But had a couple close calls, but anyway, it all worked out. We had a pretty decent run.
Speaking of mentally taxing, Bristol next week.
We're looking forward to it. Ready to go.
Okay, good luck.
Good run for Steve Grissom today. Didn't lead a lap, but hung on to his point lead. Next Busch race you'll see on TNN will be the Autolite Platinum 250. Under the lights on a 3/4 mile. Paul Sawyer's Richmond International Raceway. Friday, September 10th, live on TNN, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, from the network that brings you more Busch racing than all other networks combined. Again in 1993. Then after Bristol, or rather after Richmond, we'll be headed for Dover Downs International Speedway. Busch and Winston Cup racing down there. Robert Presley continues to get awards. That's Doug Agee from Goodies in Victory Lane with him. Here's Randy.
Well, Bobby Donner standing there. You got the whole throng behind you. All these guys are happy, and you got a smile, too.
We had a lot of DeWalt people here this weekend. You know, DeWalt's come on board for us this year. It's the first major sponsor I've had, and it's made a huge impact on our race team. And unfortunately, a lot of our finishes haven't showed it. And we've run awful good for a lot of races this year, and this is like our first top 5 finish. So, I mean, I hope we can keep going like this, and if they can continue their support with DeWalt next year, I believe we can be a consistent championship-type contender. And that's really what we need to see.
Talk about dodging the trouble out there. You came in with a pretty clean race car.
Yeah, I did, but that really was kind of not all my doing. We had a broken radio, and every time we pitted, we'd have to talk about what we wanted to do, then do it. So we ended up coming out last almost every time, and we were able to miss a lot of the trouble that way. But about 3/4 of the way through, I knew that that wasn't going to work at the end, so I told them, let's start using signals. If I put my hand up, do this. If I put my hand down, and that got us out the last pit stop. The crew did fantastic, and we got in a position to come home 3rd.
Okay, so there it is, Neil. You got to break your radio in order to do well in this series. That's what you do.
Worked pretty well for Bobby Donner today. Let's have a look and update the Busch Series point standing. Craftsman Tools. When seconds count, there's no time for second best. Craftsman, the official tools of NASCAR, updates the Busch Series points. Steve Grissom, 25-12. He came in here 47 points ahead of David Green. He will leave here 65 points ahead of David Green. Robert Presley came in here 205 points behind, and he will leave 214 points behind for Presley. Joe Nemechek, 4th in the point standings. He moves up past Ward Burton, who slides to 5th after a tough day today. Chuck Bound was 5th. He'll also drop in the points. Ricky Craven will hang on where he was. Tom Peck will slide a bit, as will Jeff Burton and Todd Bodine. Robert Presley's going to have a lot of trophies to take home and a lot of money for his big win here at Loudon, New Hampshire. He led 4 times for 103 laps. Joe Nemechek led twice for 123 laps. Jack Sprague out front once for 11 laps. And Tommy Houston led 5 of the 250 laps today. For Glenn Jarrett, Randy Pemberton, and Neil Bonnet, I'm Mike Joy, congratulating Robert Presley on his victory here at Loudon, New Hampshire today. We will speak to you next Friday night under the lights from Richmond, September 10th. Join us then here on TNN. So long from Loudon, New Hampshire.